and tell them to get live. And please remember to subscribe to both our YouTube and Facebook pages at The One Mic Show. And then follow us on Instagram at One Mic Show. We are also taking live calls at 202-683-4570. Press *5 to speak, so you want to save that number. Now, later tonight, we'll have a discussion on whether men should have authority over their wives or their women when it comes to their choice of clothing. Is it justified to publicly shame your woman based on her choice of dress? It's going to be in the social segment, so I want you to stay tuned for that. Na bila kusahau, tapokea mziki toka DJ wetu machachari mleta habari DJ Moshfire na kudunda kule viwanjani na Mika Ochjes yake nambari 7 mgongoni, akituletea habari za michezo. Na moja kwa moja toka Kilimanjaro Studios ni mimi mtangazaji na mwanahabari wako mpendwa Ali Badawi. Kwetu wananiita mteule na wengine mniite mjukuu wa Masai, because I'm Kenyan by blood, American by design, Masai by choice. Sichagui, sikagui na sibagui. Karibuni tena.
Now, let's talk politics.
Now this year, of course, there's no politics, but we'll be talking to stock market and real estate mentor Emily Karanja. She'll be making a case on why the US is the best place to invest your dollars. She'll talk about opportunities in the stock market and on the real estate market beyond traditional homes. So I want you to stay tuned for that. And I'm your co-host and producer Ali Badawi. It's Friday the 7th of July and we are streaming live from Kilimanjaro Studios outside Washington DC. Now please remember to subscribe to our One Mic Show YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram and Facebook at One Mic Show. And on panel with me tonight is Mr. One Mic Kamakawa. Sports anchor Mika Och will be joining us live via Zoom. Our resident DJ Moshfire will be live on the decks. And your favorite guest host, Ruth, again, is back in the building. And also not forgetting super producer, Mubelwa Bandio. And before we get started, I want to once again welcome Ruth. She came back and then she took a break again, and now she's back again. Ruth, say hi to the audience, and in one quick sentence, tell us your investments.
Yeah.
Are you keeping them here in the US or are you taking all of them to Kenya?
I currently, okay, number one, hello. It's really nice to be back after a short break. As I said, it will be in and out this summer, but you'll see me quite a bit. Also, before I go into my investments, did you guys join Threads?
I did. I was asked to join, and I did.
You did?
Is that the new Twitter?
It's a new Zuckerberg or Twitter.
Whatever
Mark
that is.
Zuckerberg.
Like, it's a mixture of Twitter, Reddit, and Instagram.
I haven't quite
I saw
understood it
something
yet,
about it.
but
Yeah.
but
you
I
haven't
joined.
joined? You need to join. It's Twitter on steroids.
You know, Twitter, I was beginning to get disillusioned by Twitter with all these things, all these crazy things that they were trying to do.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe a competitor platform might make them put their act together.
Or disappear altogether.
Or disappear. That's a
Yeah.
possibility too.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
MySpace.
Yeah, I know. Oh my word. Anyway, my investments. I have most of my investments here. I am just beginning to invest back home.
No mafuroti maguta.
No.
Okay. All right. We're going to be talking about that. So want you all to stay tuned. And now we know that the dilemma on whether to invest in the US or back home is a question that has never been settled amongst African immigrants in the US. Now, decades ago, when the first wave of Africans were graduating from US colleges, it was not uncommon to see people relocating back home or investing back home if they were still here. Now, over time, however, as more Africans chose to settle in the US, a new generation of US-born children coming of age started questioning their parents on the logic of investing back home. In studio tonight to help us solve this myth is a stock market and real estate mentor, Miss Emily Karanja. Now, prior to becoming a stock trader and a real estate investor, Emily was in the self-storage industry as a property manager and was also a real estate agent. Her quest in search for financial freedom began after her retirement 401k portfolio got crushed following the 2008 financial crisis. She sought mentors who assisted her to where she is today in private money lending and as a stock and options trader. And Emily is also a financial coach or a financial educator. She's a real estate investor. She's an entrepreneur. Emily, karibu sana to the One Mic Show. How are you feeling today?
I am feeling wonderful. Thank you for finally having me on.
Finally.
Finally.
We've been waiting for. Thank you for finally coming.
Okay.
How
so
about that?
Schedule conflicts have kept me away for many years, but I'm here. I'm
Okay.
happy to be here.
All right. And how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling wonderful. I would say out of all those wonderful things that you've said, all those accolades, I really thank you for having me here. But I think my most important title that I have is being a mother of two lovely children, Jason and Ashley. So shout out to my children. But yeah, thank you for having me here. I'm ready to talk. Let's talk.
All right. Asante sana. Now, for those that don't know Emily, maybe please start by telling us about yourself and how you got here to the US and how you transitioned from employment to entrepreneurship.
So you want the official Kenyan introduction? Kwa majina naitwa, all my full legal names on my passport, or just...
And your credit card too.
And my social.
Yeah.
Well, most people know me as Emily. If I work with you, you know me as Emily. If you are a family member, local mwananchi of Kenya, you know me as Wangari. So that's how I go by. But I am a daughter of Mr. Peter Karanja Shege, so I do go by Karanja. So I'm Emily Karanja. I came in the U.S. in the early 90s. I was a teenager. My family migrated here from Kenya, and we did the normal. We came, we landed, sought after people to help us kind of navigate, but at the end we did our own thing. But my dad listened to friends and family, the ones who were here, the people that we were looking up to, because when we came back in the 90s there was really not that many Kenyans or Africans, and even if they were there, because of lack of technology at the time, it was really hard for you to find your fellow Africans. So we just kind of did our own thing, lived in Jersey for a few years, and then we moved to Maryland. So we've been in Maryland ever since.
Okay.
And I went to high school here. I did college here and started my professional, life and work here.
So you skipped the boarding school in Kenya part.
Yes, although I would have liked to experience it. I don't know. People always say like it was a bad experience. I'm like, yeah, I would have given it a try, even if it's just for a year or two. But
okay.
But boarding school versus what we encountered here as immigrants in America in public schools, it probably we can exchange notes.
Yes. So there was a different the different kinds of things that you experienced.
Oh yeah, for sure, sure. Being again back in the 90s,
back then being African
and
wasn't
also,
cool.
and I think also coming here as
thing.
a teenager.
As a teenager.
Not I'm
coming here for college.
Or you're coming at maybe 8, 9.
But unajua
hapo katikati ya 15, 14 hapo. That's what I'm saying. Ni sawa, but by then you're 19 already. Umepitia.
You're coming.
You've been hardened by life at either boarding or high school or whatever.
Exactly.
You're finished. This one is right in the middle.
I came under my identity crisis age stage.
Oh
I didn't even know what I was.
Wow.
Oh my word.
That is the worst time to come.
That is not good.
Okay.
So just when you've discovered who you are as a teenager, you've got some friends in Kenya, you got your buddies, the ones that you're gonna go to high school with, and you're planning life now of what you're gonna do when you guys are older. That gets uprooted, and then you come to a different country, and then you're being asked, and who are you? Why is your name so funny? What did you learn how to speak English? All that.
Do you live
stuff.
in huts on top of a tree?
Okay,
And lions around the house.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's tough going through that, like at that particular time. I think most of us who are not here in high school do not fully appreciate how difficult it was.
No,
like
wearing
especially coming
here. I've always been a prideful Kenyan. I've always worn bracelets, so these will always look like, what are those things? Like, why are you dressing different?
Yeah, I can imagine high school, because I came in college, and when I came in college, back in Kenya, we're kind of like the cool kids.
And then not kinda. Call yourself the cool kid.
No, we were kind of like the cool kids. But then when you come here, I remember the first time someone telling me I have an accent.
Yeah.
I got shocked, like, what do you mean I have an accent? Because
I speak perfect English.
Yeah, that time
and I spell it correctly
Yes,
also.
yes, I
By the way,
remember
by that time Ali was wang like now saying that when he comes here,
Cool kid wang.
cool kid wangs.
Man, cool kid unakuwa neutralized vibaya.
Yeah.
Unakuwa neutralized vibaya, and you become, just a normal. So I can imagine now that happening when you're in high school.
Yeah.
That
because,
must feel 10 times worse.
I mean, there's fashion in Kenya, but we didn't have the brand names. I mean, but we dressed well. The way we were brought up, you were always looking smart. Whether it was, an outfit from Muko Soko somewhere, it was still going to be looking sharp. But here it was all about branding.
Yes.
What shoes are you wearing today? Did you get the new Jordans? Are you guys going to go? It was all of that. And then here we are coming, first of all, we have 4 children, and then we're going to tell our parents, by the way, so these new shoes are coming out. Can we all go get, and they're looking at us like,
What kind of shoes are you talking? Can I interject for a bit?
Yes.
There's this kid, for Christmas, all he asked his mom was Jordans, right?
Yeah.
Mom did not know what the heck Jordans
Jordans
were
were.
when they went to Payless for shoes. That kid through the biggest tantrum for Christmas, would not be talked to anybody, stop talking to everybody, and the parents didn't understand what was going on.
Yeah.
First world problems.
My word.
Exactly. Yeah. So actually, if Payless was publicly traded back then, I should have told my dad to buy Payless, stocks, because
Wow.
that's where we were shopping.
Yes, and now getting to stocks, like now after high school,
Yeah.
You went to college, you started working, you got into employment. So want to know, like how you were able to transition through that, going through employment and going to self-employment, entrepreneurship. Just briefly talk about that.
Sure, no problem. So after high school, I went to college because it was a thing that you were supposed to do. I never wanted to go to college. I just went because I was told it's the thing to do. So I didn't even graduate. I dropped out after 2 years. Because I was going to school for what I didn't even like. It wasn't my passion, but it was the thing that was happening back then in the 2000s. It's the .com, so it was become a computer engineer, networking, CS, whatever, all those titles, and putting me behind a desk and looking at a screen all day is just not my
Or in short,
personality.
what Kina One Mike are doing.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't.
No wonder he has no personality.
Oh my
let's
word.
continue.
That is not why I'm agreeing with that.
That's-
All I'm saying is
That's
that
today.
Yeah?
you have to know
it's
yourself.
the cool kid Wang that got to
You know,
him.
you know what?
It's the cool kid Wang that got to him.
I'm joining on the
joining
shade.
on-
okay.
I am.
Anywho, so I did college, but it was not my thing. And then I went into, I guess, what you would call customer service sales industry. And that's where I found myself. I worked for a self-storage company for 17 years. So that was like my first,
Wow.
my first job, in America. That was actually an actual W-2. You did babysitting stuff here and there, but that was like my first W-2 job. So I started there, going to college, but then over time, you get, us Africans were hardworking. So you get promoted, you get like an offer here, you're like, oh, I'll keep going. I got to the top, almost at one of the top levels, which is a property manager. And during this time, when you become a full-time employee, what are you told? You go to your HR's office, they hand you this packet that says this is your retirement stuff, fill out your 401k stuff. Okay, great. I have no reference because my parents, when they came, that's not something that they did. So they didn't invest here. They didn't know anything about 401k. So me, I'm on my own trying to figure out all these things. Okay, what am I supposed to fill out? What am I supposed to check? Which boxes am I checking? So I call the guy from Fidelity who had because Fidelity was the company that was managing the 401k for our company. And I remember the guy asking me, well, how old are you? When do you want to retire? And do you want to be do you want to be aggressive, moderate,
Conservative.
or
Or
conservative?
conservative,
Those
yeah.
were the three those boxes, right? And when do you want to retire? Those three questions. So I'm like, I don't even know what conservative and moderate and aggressive. I'm like, I don't know. So the guy tells, well, you're 21. You're going to be working for the next, 30, 40 years. So you might as well get aggressive and just start early and, max out your 401k. What's the company matching? 6%? Oh, no, just put in 10%. Okay. Naively, I'm like, okay, if that's what you say, that's what I'll do. Started. And back in those days, what was happening? You get your statements in the mail. For those kids who don't know what a mailbox is or a statement, you'll see one in a museum
There
one
were
day.
no apps.
There was no apps.
There are no
Yeah.
This was you had to fax your
I know, not
application
to
to
an
the HR
email,
because
I
your HR
know.
office is not in the same office as you. You had to fax now your paperwork to HR. Anyway, so I get my quarterly statement in the mail. I look at it. I'm like, oh dang, this thing actually works. This 401k Imeruka. And like quarter one, quarter two. I'm like, this stuff. This is the American dream. Let's go. So I start doing that, and then I'm like, okay, this is now after the .com, crash. But that time, my 401k was not hit as much because I had just started. But I had coworkers that had been working for longer than I had. And I could hear the rumbles in the office. Man, my 401k, I took a hit, blah, 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 because of all the .com crash, But I didn't think anything of it because me, I'm like, yangu iko sawa.
Shida ni yenu si yangu.
That's your problem, not mine. That sounds like a you problem. Anyway, so I'm putting money. So now when you think about what was happening back in the 2000s, as the market was crashing and then we had 9/11 in the midst of all of that, there was this push for everybody to be a home owner,
Yes.
right? So what was the thing? Everybody must own a home, give people, the ability to buy property, blah, blah, blah. You give Wall Street a problem, they're going to solve it, right? So what do? They go through all the people that are able to qualify the traditional way. Your credit score is what? 640, okay, good. You have savings, blah, blah, blah. Check, check, check. Okay, they exhausted all those measures. Then what's the next category, right? Hence the subprime, ninja loans, all these things. You just had to have, air, just breathe and you can send a document, right? No income.
My professor said,
No
do you have a
income,
pulse?
liar loans.
Yeah, exactly. If you had a pulse, they would give you a loan.
Yeah.
That's exactly now that era.
I was in the banking industry at that particular time, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my thought process was, okay, I'm here. I'm now in my 20s. My dad, okay, he's doing his things in Kenya, but if I'm planning on having a future in America, I'm going to have kids here. I'm going to be married here. Let me start my real estate investing in America because what could go wrong? I buy a property there, rent it out. 401k, nafanya kazi, everything is rolling. And then 2008 happened.
Oh my word.
The financial crisis hit, the bubble bust, right? So my 401k that was all high and mighty became a 201k because it was cut into half, 50% gone. My so-called retirement
I like how you just put
dream
it that
home.
way.
Huh?
I like how you put it that way.
It became a 201k. Like literally, it was cut in half.
from 401 to 201.
It was a 401k. It became a 201k overnight.
Yeah.
Overnight. And then these properties that I thought were going to have equity and appreciation, whatever, that equity disappeared again overnight. Tenants can't afford to pay because what's happening, layoffs, blah, blah, blah. So here I am in the midst of all of this. I'm going through foreclosures for the properties that I now can't afford to pay because interest-only loans, and then you're like, mortgage principal and interest will be due here in like 2 years, and you're looking at these numbers and you're just like,
they're not making sense.
it's not, the math is not mathing.
Yeah.
So you had to walk away. But these were investment properties. A lot of people lost their primary home. So I always tell people, don't feel bad for me. I lost investment homes.
properties, yeah.
I never lost my job. I never lost any of those things. I never lost my home. I lost investment, but there were people who lost
Their primary homes. A lot of people.
A lot
Yeah.
of Kenyans did.
a lot. Everybody was affected.
Yeah.
Actually, the one of the movies that kind of tells that story is it's called The Big Short. I don't know if you guys have ever watched it. It's called The Big Short.
I have watched The Big Short. Yeah.
Watch The Big Short because that movie tells you exactly what was happening during those times, right? So yeah, all this is happening in the news, and you're seeing all these people are losing money, homes a lot, and so I'm like, okay, but if this is the American dream of owning a home and having a retirement, how come we failed? Like, how come I lost money? So that kind of like started the search for me, but I never like really took anything of it. I was just like, there's got to be something better. But since I had that 9-to-5 job that I was relying on, I just kept on chugging. Then fast forward 2014, after 17 years of service, they were like, thank you for your time.
Goodbye.
Out ninja.
Yeah.
Out ninja.
Kwaheri.
Thank
Deuces.
you. Bye.
Yeah.
Just like that?
Good night.
Just like that. Well, the owner of the company passed away and the kids sold the business, which, at the time I was so bitter because I'm like, how could you sell your dad's biashara? Because you're thinking the same way like we think at home. But when I think about it now, my mind was like, my mindset was so like backwards because isn't it every parent's dream to own a business that one day if you pass away, you leave it to your kids, and if they choose to sell the business and make billions of dollars, they can do that? Isn't that what every parent dreams to do for their kids? So why was I bitter for these guys? At
that
the
was
time,
the security.
yeah. But that was my security.
Yeah.
But that guy that I worked for all those years was securing his security because I was working for him, right? But when they sold the business, kids, cashed the check and they went on. But as an employee, my mindset was so much different from what it is now. But I
You
look back and I'm
invested
like,
so much.
exactly. It
Yeah.
felt like a death. You guys actually were there when I was sending you guys those messages because I was like, I was texting everybody how mad I was. Anyway, so that's now where the whole, okay, am I gonna go back and do this for somebody else? And by the way, like when I got laid off, I had a severance pay. I had time to kind of like breathe and figure out, okay, what's the next step?
Yeah.
But in the back of my mind, like we always think, all of us have this same thought process. I'll either go back to school and get a degree, because now I'm in my 30s. I've worked for this company since I was 21. I'm 35. I'm a mother of 2. Where am I starting in a new? What's a resume? I've never had to do a resume, right? So it's a different playing field now. Technology has come and gone and left me behind because all I know is Excel, Word, and PowerPoint.
And access.
There used to be access.
Heck no. That one I refused to learn.
Microsoft Office.
No, it was Microsoft and Excel and PowerPoint, and maybe even Adobe was there. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm like, where am I starting? Like, how am I even going to start?
Retooling.
Yeah. So that started this kind of little search, and you know how phones are. They listen to your conversations. They whatever. I'm on Facebook streaming. I see this ad of like, if you want to learn how to invest in real estate in the stock market, there's this 2-hour thing, come listen. It's the middle of the day, what am I doing? I'm like, okay, I'll go and listen. I go, and as they say, the rest is history. That's where my journey began.
That a Facebook ad changed your life.
Well, getting laid off changed my life, but a Facebook ad following up with that changed my life.
Okay. All right. Wow, that's different. So that's just how you transitioned from employment into entrepreneurship. It wasn't voluntary. It was something that happened. So probably if that company was still operational, maybe you might still be there.
You know how like when you talk to God and then you tell him what you want and then he starts to give you signs and then you ignore him? Yeah. So like backtrack like 6 months before the whole layoff happened. I'd even talked to my boss and told him, I've been here for 17 years. I feel like, I've reached my max. But, I don't know how much more I can give this place. He was like, whenever you're ready, you just let us know. We had a good relationship. Whenever you're ready, just let us know. Loyal as we are, and especially women, I was never going to live on my own accord. That was just a thought, never to be acted upon.
Okay.
So I think, the layoff was actually God yanking me and removing this clutch that I had relied on for 17 years, this, every 2-week paycheck, for me to actually go out and venture out and explore what my purpose was in this place. So it's kind of like, a combination of many things, but we'll just call it God's aligning. Okay,
good. Now we have Kiza Soze, Afro-Jamaican, tuned in. He says, I'm driving but listening. And he also says he wanted Safaricom in his portfolio, but it's not available in Canada. Afro-Jamaican is actually a Jamaican who lives in Canada who's listening to us, who wants to move to Kenya.
Awesome.
Very interesting. And then
let me ask you something, Ali.
One quick second. One quick second.
Why can't you say Afro-Jamaican is a Jamaican? Why is he a Jamaican?
Yeah. See, Jamaican, because that's how we cool kids say it. But anyway, Stephen Batty says, ndio kuingia Sambaza podcast in the house. Maze, you guys be easy on me. I'm a nice guy. But Wangare, before we go to the meat and bones of our conversation today, I've been going through, some of your content on your Linktree page, which we're going to post here on the comments. Mm-hmm. With all the Airbnbs, apartments, and Mafuroti Maguta buzzing back home, investing back home in Kenya is missing in your financial education content. Is this by happenstance or by design?
It's because I don't. Therefore, I cannot speak on something that I don't do.
Okay. Why don't you do it?
Because I'm here. I will do investing in Kenya when I decide I'm going to go to Kenya to live.
But have you, seen people who live here invest in Kenya, maybe family members,
my father
friends?
is one of them. I have friends, I have family. Yeah, of course.
Okay, so you probably have some intimate knowledge also of how
I've had stories
to invest in Kenya. I mean, if your father is investing in Kenya, you probably know, how his investments are doing. Yes. So why is it that you've never been tempted to give people options? Unaweza kuinvest hapa na pia huku unaweza kuangalia.
Because there's enough of that. There's a platform for that. There are people that are much better than I am to talk about that area, because it's just not something that I invest in. There's enough people that can talk about that. All I can talk about is what my experience has been in this country, my investing in this country. Mm-hmm. When I start investing in Kenya and I have something to say about it, I'll talk about it. But right now, I just don't. I mean, other than just stories on of what I've witnessed with my dads, the good, the bad, the ugly, you buy plots here and then you go home and you're like, isi yako mzee. Those nightmare stories. I've watched my dad go through all of the ins and outs. But there are some that have been obviously fruitful, right? So for me, at this point, at this juncture of my life, my focus is investing here, teaching and educating people here, because there's a lot of us who are here and don't have this financial education of what it is to make this American dollar, but you don't understand why you don't have anything left at the end of the day because of how you're taxed, how you have your assets, how you have all those things. And if that's the same dollar you're planning to go and build with back home, then you want to take back as much as you possibly can and not give or leave some here when it's unnecessary.
Okay. All right. Now, then I want us to talk about, basic money management issues, because at the very most basic level, even before you get to the investment, there's a basic money management issue. And you previously admitted, you've told us that you may have made some mistakes when it came to managing of your money prior to the financial crisis.
Yeah.
So maybe please talk to us about this and tell us maybe some common mistakes those of us who move to the US, immigrants, make when it comes to the management of their finances.
It all begins with tax and asset protection. And if I have to add something else and trigger some people, you need to have life insurance while you're building your wealth.
Okay, so say that in English. So say that in English. Talk to people, because, and this is the thing that also myself being, like a professional in the field, like we sometimes get lost, when we talk about asset protection.
Yeah.
That means nothing to 90% of the people. It doesn't mean anything. Even when you tell someone, oh, by the way, you need life insurance, that also means nothing to the average person.
Yes.
So
Break it
where
down.
so where do you start? Like with I'm talking about just the common, like the common mistakes that we make based on the fact that this is what we normally do, this is what we're used to. What are some of those things that maybe people need to be aware of?
So like I said, it starts with taxes. How you're taxed, how you make an income, right? I talked about, the transition from employee to an entrepreneur. The tax code is written for businesses, period, end of sentence. People can argue all they want, but the tax code is written for people that have businesses. If you earn a W-2, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with earning a W-2, but there's only but so much that you can write off and deduct as a W-2 earner. When you file your taxes, the IRS does not start by asking you how much money you made. They ask you by how are you filing. How you filed is what's going to determine how you're going to pay taxes.
Single, married, with children.
Exactly.
Head of household.
How did you earn your income?
Yeah.
How are you filing? Are you filing as a W-2?
Or as a business.
As a business.
Yeah.
That's where the story begins.
Okay.
So there's no cheat code. There's no, people avoiding to pay. Everybody has to pay their fair share of taxes. All I'm saying is, are we maximizing all that is written, all that is available to us, freely available to us, to maximize the things that are available for us to write off and deduct so that we can bring more? Because it's not even about how much money you make, it's how much you keep at the end of the day.
Okay. Yeah, and I think I want to bring in the rest of the panel into the conversation, so that we can we can bring in, like the layman talk.
Yeah.
In as far as we can bring in the layman talk in as far as, because it's very important.
Yeah.
To like have like to slow down the conversation and like have it in a way that people can understand, because that's something that most people have heard. You gotta know your taxes. You gotta be aware of your taxes. So let me speak for myself personally. My first tax lesson in America is when I received my first paycheck at Giant Food. That was my first lesson. That was my first tax. Was it a Target or Giant Food? It was one of the two.
Let me guess. Maryland, employment.
6%.
So I did not know about Social Security. I did not know about Medicare, because I started working, in my defense, I had been in the country for 2-3 weeks. And I really appreciate my aunt, because my aunt Ali neutralized your cool kid. I came the first week. She totally neutralized it. I came in the first week, and she told me, okay, here's a deal. Unaona, pale across the road, the grocery store.
Yeah.
Ukiingia hapo kwa mlango, those days you could not even apply on a computer. You had to go to physically apply there.
Paper.
Yes. He was like, go and apply for a job.
Yep.
I'm giving you exactly 1 week to find a job there. So many places that are hiring. That was within my first week in the US. Na ndo nikajua hapa kumeharibika. So I was like, okay. I went, nikatafuta and I was like, okay, fine. Ndatafuta kazi. When I found a job, I started, and then on my first week, they used to pay weekly that time. So when my first paycheck came, that was my first lesson. That job was paying the high wage of $7 an hour. Yes. It was paying $7 an hour. I know, that's very unusual, like when young people are now starting to work and they're getting 16, 17, 18, they wanashtuka wakisikia people used to pay $7 an hour. Oh, wow. Okay. Uko ni mbali. Uko umeenda ni mbali. But you see, my first lesson, that was my first lesson. In my defense, I was new in the country, but I know for a lot of people, that also becomes their first lesson.
So what was your reaction? You see your paycheck, then what?
No, I was shocked. I'd already started spending. Nilikuwa nishapitia like Forest Mall, and I knew what shoes I was buying.
That was when there was still a hex.
There was the hex, yes, at like Forest Mall. I knew what I was buying. I knew the clothes, because that's where my mind was at that time.
Caldos.
Niko Stato, nitabuy malebo na nini. So I had already started calculating in my mind, and I'm like, no.
Who is FICA?
This is not adding up. So I went to HR And they were very nice because they realized
You
that
went to HR?
Yes, I did, because I was like, hey,
Inquiring minds want to know.
yeah,
Because
I mean,
that
this
is
is my
not my
money.
thing.
This is my money.
Okay,
I
there
worked
was no
and you're not
Google
paying
at
me.
the time, so
No,
I'll give you
ma'am.
that.
Yeah,
There's no
so
Google.
so I went, and that's when they explained to me, like on every paycheck that you get, this is a deduction. It's compulsory. It's coming from the government. I found a very nice lady, there, and she explained to me step by step. And then like when I went back home, and I explained to my aunt, was like, yeah, that's how things work here. You have to pay taxes. So that was my first tax lesson. A lot of people also, I believe, their first paycheck was their first tax lesson. And that's the reason why, people never seem to get this tax part. Mike.
I think my first lesson was back in the day at High's store. There are not that many left, but there are some that.
But did you know that you were gonna get taxed on your first paycheck?
No, because you're working all these hours. Alafu unaangalia ka check, you're
Who
like,
is this?
no, because mentally you're saying, okay, I'm being paid
You're doing math.
$5 and $4.75 times this
20 hours, 40 hours.
times however many hours. You're like, hapa kuna ka $200 kana ingia. Wagade. Below that, you're like, wait, what?
What happened here?
Then of course, I mean, like you're shy. You're like, you're not really trying to back the system. You're like, okay, is this normal? Okay, sawa.
Wengine
Okay,
tuna
I'll
paper,
keep
so we
it.
don't want to question and raise more things. So you're just like,
You
I'll
know,
take what you give me.
Because you also
Sawa.
don't want to you back the system. You're not like, yo, what the hell is this? You've been taught kujinyenyekea.
Nyamaza.
Okay.
Nyamaza,
Fanya
usidubudu.
Yeah.
That was my first.
All right. Now
And
me,
by the way, from 475, the next one was 425.
oh goddamn pay cut.
Washing dishes.
Yeah.
I hope.
Na Mika,
Dishwashing.
ama Mika ulikuwa unajua hizi vitu already by the time you earned your first paycheck in
Mika
the
was a
US.
cool kid.
That's a cool kid. Me, I come from a country where we didn't pay taxes. Zilch. Like your salary was your salary.
Oh, yes,
We
Dubai.
came from- We are hiring you for $3,000 a month. You end up paying for
Oh wow.
When I came here, the first job that I started doing, I went to work with my brother for a dealership. I was selling cars. I sold, my first car to sell was a Ram 2500. Commission 1,700. I was very happy. And then I sold Avengers. I sold like 6 Avengers. I sold like 6 Avengers. We're paid every 2 weeks. So for that paycheck, I remember for that paycheck in my head, nilikuwa napiga hesabu, nilikuwa na karibu $3,000. Hey! And then commission is taxed differently. It's not taxed like regular salary. So
The math was not mathing.
my first paycheck, the math, it did not math. Nilienda home, niliteta. Bro akaniambia hapana. By the way, this is how this is done, and I think actually that made me realize real quick that I need to get back to my profession. Yes, I don't know because there was no way it sat down. It didn't sit down comfortably with me that I'm big tax that I'm really making money for the government like that.
Okay, all right. So you're hearing those experiences, and to those who are tuned in, Tabitha here is saying Mika was cool, first job in a car dealership, and paycheck you are making $7,000. Okay, and then now to all the audience, the listeners, tell us what your first experience with taxes was here in the US, because most of us, majority of us, did not come here, like knowing about taxes. Maybe we had not even worked in Kenya, and we just did not have a conception of what tax is.
But I have a question though, because here I think we need to also find out, our resident DJ when he came back in the day.
Wait.
Like what was it like $2 and Kerea ama what's the deal? What was the structure?
Had America even started charging income
By
tax?
the way, was
Aki.
hizo mafaika makerea
Walikuwa nini?
atatuambia ama
Medicare.
Boston, I think it was
Medicaid.
Boston Tea Party era. They were paying 1% tax. They were not equal 6.5% tax.
I say no more.
I think Omosh has. Yeah, I think
I have a comment from my sister. She's watching on YouTube, but she cannot comment online. But she says, Ati, these first jobs are triggering. Hers was Chuck E. Cheese.
Okay.
And she had the same experience.
All right. And then hapa Brenda BK anasema Mika ulianza soft life kitambo sana. So that's
that was not soft life ali man. Unajua watu wanafikiria mimi sikukuja kitambo kama watu wengine. Me I came in the 2000s. Me I came in 2010. Hiyo bado ilikuwa pesa. So imagine on your first check, wewe first check yako umeassume 3000 na kupata. By the time IRS na nini wamekula unapata karibu ka 1200 kwenda nako.
So I think that the census
hakuna soft life hapo, ile ilikuwa kuteseka from day one. And then remember Kasim, second week auzi gari. Unagauka, hauna mshahara.
Yeah, commission jobs ndo zilikuwa hivyo. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, you were saying something.
I was just going to say, but this is how it starts. This is why it continues the way it is, because of the conditioning. We come and we accept what we are finding other people doing or what other people tell us.
Okay.
Don't buck the system. Don't ask too many questions. Take your paycheck and be quiet. You know, like this
Kubali
is how
too.
Kubali too.
Take it like a man.
And of course, who are we to go? I just got here. Just started earning this income. Who am I to question my boss who's been here for 25 years? Like, this one who's writing my check, why am I questioning what they're telling me? So if they say that's the norm, that's the norm. And this is how this thing continues, because we are conditioned to just take whatever we're told is, truth. But is there more?
Now, Ruth, did you have an experience?
So can I read Stevens and then I tell about mine?
Mm-hmm.
So Robert, by the way, says I was with the DJ on Panam.
Oh, okay. Panam.
That's a day, please.
That already tells
where
you
Roba. Wow. Okay, that's not showing.
This Steven says I was already used to it since I worked in Kenya, so it was like it's okay. The 401k and life insurance is what I had to learn. So mine, because I came for school, and I came in land following day I was in school. So I remember at the time I was doing accounting classes. So my major was finance, but they made us take accounting classes, which I'm grateful for. One of the classes was taxes, and
good.
So I learned it in class before I ever worked for anybody. So my experience with taxes wasn't when I was getting paid. I was already aware that I'll be taxed from the form I'd learned in school.
Yeah.
My first experience with taxes was when I filed my first taxes, and how that went. That was my first experience with taxes. So I think because I went to school and we had this tax class, I got to learn about, people get W-2s, 1099s, all of that.
Okay.
And so that was my entry point.
Okay.
It wasn't a job per se. I kind of was aware of it by the time I got to work in.
Okay, so interesting.
So you were cushioned from character development.
You were cushioned. It looks like it.
You are.
It looks like
a soft landing.
Soft landing.
A soft landing.
Let's scare Omosh.
But unajua the soft landing in Ruth amesema, actually for me I think it's something really well, because me nilipata soft landing. I will not lie. I came with brothers here who really helped me a lot with that culture shock. From stress-free, mapepa, hizo nini, and jobs and everything. Because, hii country inaweza kufanya vitu. So that's soft learning that Ruth was talking about. It's really important.
It can make a cool kid look warm.
Yeah, and it's important for us to give the right opinion. But I'll let Omosh tell us his experience before we talk about the next thing.
Yes, Omosh Fire. Talk about your first experience, your first job, or when you learned about taxes for the first time in this country.
And you can address that Panam flight thing.
Yeah, there's someone who's claiming that you are the DJ on the Panam flight that was coming here.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Ambia huyu mtu wa Panama.
Wakakana ujinga saa zingine.
Ambia huyu mtu wa Panama aende huko. Me, I came on Lufthansa. But anyway.
But do you say?
And that's
Omoju lipanda Concorde.
Boss, let's just say that I'll give you, when I came, that exchange rate was what? $1 to 20 shillings.
Wow.
So
I don't even remember that.
Yes.
Wow.
That was the exchange rate.
Who was the president?
Can I even remember then?
Ronald Reagan?
Jimmy Carter?
No.
Nixon? Kennedy.
Nixon, I think.
No. it
Okay,
wasn't.
you guys are making fun. Like, this is jokes.
I have to go
This
back
is
and check.
absolutely.
Okay, all right. You can go
Lincoln.
verify.
I'll go back
Jokes.
and I'll check the year, then I'll let you know.
Grover Cleveland?
It was, it was
Ashley, I'm with you. Wow.
Grover Cleveland.
George Washington.
George Washington.
George Washington.
Oh, yes.
And then in terms of
No, let's keep it
taxes,
FDR.
what?
Yeah.
In terms of an hourly rate, I actually was getting a good hourly rate compared to what, because I think minimum wage then was something like 3 something.
Wow.
But
Okay.
I was getting above that.
Okay.
And
Above
that's
minimum.
because the person who brought me in, like when somebody holds your hand.
They hooked you up.
Yes. So because they were a good worker, even me when I came in, I was also given the same.
Soft landing.
Yes, the soft. So I was making almost $2 an hour more than everybody else. And then something I discovered with those places was that the pay was not equal. It was Vilona negotiate.
Okay.
So
So you learned that early in the game.
early in the game, and the key to it for getting a job then was you had to agree to work on weekends.
Aha.
So when you're filling out that application, hiyo ulifanya ukienda ukiingia
Target
matembezi.
Giant.
Na target, yeah.
Ukiingia matembezi. You'll be asked. There was one question there, and I don't know if they still ask it on our applications. Is, are you willing to work weekends?
That's retail. They'll ask you that.
Yeah.
Pap,
Yes.
immediately. Niliweka. Pap,
Sina kitu ya
yes.
kufanya
And I was
weekend.
told, I was schooled and told, when you're filling this thing out, make sure you say you're willing to work weekends. Because it doesn't ask nights, but it says weekends. Nikaweka weekends. Immediately. In fact, I think I got that job within 6.8. Kwanza nilienda nilifungua mdomo, and I was not saying axe. I was not saying sijui hizi kizunguza nini.
Oh my goodness.
Ah.
Kizungu za Ali.
Yeah, hizo.
Oh.
Yeah.
I should not be laughing.
Niliingia ndani. So, but in terms of when the paycheck came in, even though tax was taken off, I wasn't crying, because to me it was more money than I had seen in a while. I think that when I left Kenya, I was making 1,000 shillings a month. So,
Wow.
which
Again.
by then was a lot of money.
It was a lot of money,
It was
yeah.
a lot of money.
Grover
Yeah.
Cleveland.
But I just graduated, high school, but nilienda kasakanya job, and I was making 1,000 bob. So and then I was leaving home, bills zero. So that was just extra cash. You're not doing anything. But anyway, back to here.
Yeah.
The taxes, I didn't feel it. I mean, I saw it, and I guess I kind of sort of understood it, but I was not feeling it that of surprise.
Yeah.
However, over time, what you're expecting versus
What you get.
It's like it would always hit you hard, and especially those days when you ukipiga overtime.
Yeah.
That's when now you see
That part.
some things going.
Haywire.
You're like, okay, but I mean,
Helter skelter.
I worked overtime,
Yeah.
so I need to be kumbe hizo sasa zile taxes za sijui zimeingia juu umelipishwa sijui time and a half, then now you're being taxed at a different rate on whatever you've made past 40 hours.
Yeah.
Where?
Okay. All right. So these are
Character
interesting
development.
experiences. These are interesting experiences. I want to remind the listeners that you're tuned into the One Mic Show, and I'm your co-host and producer Ali Badawi. Our guest tonight is a stock market and real estate mentor Emily Karanja. She's here telling us about why investing in the US is a good option for a lot of immigrants. And you can find Emily's financial education programs on Linktree at that's EM_Wangari with an I, M_Wangari with an I, not Wangare with an E. So make sure you check her out, and we're gonna post a link on the comments. We'll shortly be talking about the stock market as a wealth building tool here in the US. But before we continue, there was a story that had been trending about someone who called out their girlfriend over their dressing. Uno Mike, please just briefly tell us what this story was about and what we shall be discussing in the social segment. Keep it brief.
Very simply put, somebody goes out, booty chicks are out, the partner, the partner posts something, and then there's backlash,
Post something against
castigating the butt chicks.
Okay.
But it's your mama.
Yeah.
So
And they post it in public.
in
a
public,
forum.
mutandao,
Okay.
social media,
Twitter.
Yeah.
Twitter.
Twitter.
I actually, to be precise, I think it was black. Was it black Twitter?
No, it was.
It was
It
Twitter.
was just on Twitter, but
But-
then Black
but-
Twitter.
Got a
Black
hold
Twitter
of it.
picked up.
The
Yeah.
shade room got a hold of it.
So the discussion had been, do you have as a jama, your partner, Do you have authority on how she's to dress?
Okay. So
Ish.
so meaning like, can you know, like tell her that
Yes.
hivi umevaa leo ndivyo sivyo.
Ngori ilikuwa kuvaa ama ngori
Oh, that's the other thing.
Dem
Mimika.
alikuwa na rombose ya ule jamaa.
She was dancing with Asha. So we
That's
also
what
need to
triggered
put
him.
that.
It was not the dress. It was
So
the fact that it was
unarombosa two butt chicks tuna hang
Tunaonekana.
Asha
Yeah.
anauliza one of his songs anyway, never mind.
But that was a very tame dance.
So
Anyway.
Okay, all right. But mimi sikuwa na hiyo dance.
Sikuwa na dance.
So alikuwa na dance na Asha.
Yeah.
Mimi niliona picha tu.
Yeah,
I just
niliona-
saw a picture of them together,
No, they-
but I didn't see the
She danced
video.
lakini hawakuguza.
It wasn't.
She went to an Asha concert. It's not an Asha. If he comes to you to sing to you. Allah?
Unasikia?
But listen, Mika though, okay, this is sorry for the social segment.
Social
let me-
segment.
Yeah,
Pause.
but I know. Let me say this though, right? Asha does this with a ton of celebrities he dances with. FYI. Anyway,
Okay, Taraji P.
No,
Henson.
no, no.
Taraji, go look at Taraji's
With
stance.
Is Taraji
people's
single?
wives. With
Is Taraji
people's
single?
wives, ama with-
Taraji is single.
Thank you.
okay.
But she's a
rest my
mother.
case.
She's a
So-
mother.
no, no, no,
She's
no,
a
no, no.
mother.
No, no,
She's
no,
a
no.
mother.
So this
Taraji is a mother,
single.
right?
social segment.
Taraji
Thank you.
is a mother.
She's single, yeah?
Because
Is Kiki single?
I'm saying Taraji is a mother because
Is
the-
Kiki single?
Social segment.
Is Kiki single?
she's not married.
No, 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 no. Is she single?
She's married. She's
Oh,
a
she's
mom.
married.
She's a mom.
She is now.
Mnamaliza content sasa.
Oh, so tunamaliza content.
Yes, mnamaliza content.
Huyu.
Yeah. So
Yeah, Martha, yeah.
Gala.
Hizo zenyu ni context.
so this is gonna be
Zake.
in the social segment.
Unaona hata already ushaanza social. Sorry, carry on,
Yeah.
brother. Blather.
This is gonna be in the social segment. We're gonna go back to our conversation, you know, like about finances that we're talking about.
Yes.
Now, one of the easy, but before that, let me just some quick comments here. Ruth, just read those comments. I think that came from I think Stephen and also Salishiro.
Okay. Steven says first job gas station $4.25 and call center $8. Robert Nganga laughs. I don't know exactly what he's laughing at, but
Panam.
yeah. Oh, Panam.
Na
Okay.
Lufthansa.
Ashley says wow. I know he say wow because Ningle Omosh Sana. Sally Shiro says hello good people. It's been a minute. Top fan bud yangu I hope bado iko.
Yeye imeenda.
Imeenda.
Yeye imeenda kabisa.
Steven says this social segment hello it will be fire clearly.
Fire
Then
like an answer.
Sally Shiro says it's Asha guys and Kiki is not married.
Okay.
Oh.
All right. Huyu Kiki si ndo alikuwa kwa ile movie ya Spelling
Kiki
Bee.
Palmer, and
okay.
Is
yeah.
the Kiki Palmer.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, aina ngori.
Okay. All right.
If she's
Now-
not married, sawa.
Yeah. All right. Now moving on. We know that
Nonsense.
there's one of the easy passive ways to make money in the US is through the stock market, and part of your financial coaching, Mangari, includes teaching people how to invest long term and how to execute short term trades.
Yes.
For those maybe not familiar with financial markets, maybe please describe the stock market and why it's considered one of the greatest wealth building tools in America's history.
How many minutes do I have with this segment? 'Cause I can-
No, just let's just go briefly, and
Go
we're
for
talking
it.
to people who maybe may not be very
Oh,
familiar.
yeah,
Don't be
Keep it
technical. Let's not be technical.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
Yeah,
Yeah,
to make
please.
people understand who hear about the financial markets in the business news. They hear about the Dow, the S&P, but they don't know exactly what this is.
Okay, I think to understand this U.S. economy, you have to kind of go back to like how it was invented, how it was created. There's a great show on the History Channel called "The Men Who Built America."
Oh, amazing! I love it.
That pretty much tells you how we are where we are today, right? It's all about entrepreneurship.
I
And
need to write these shows down.
Yeah, it's called The Men Who Built America. It goes back
Marathon.
to those days of Rockefeller and Henry Ford and Carnegie, and just like how these guys were competing.
Kina Kennedy.
Yeah, even before the Kennedys, like way before those guys. And it talks about how this country was was built and how the wealth and all that stuff. So anyway, but to fast forward, the average American had never or did not have access to the stock market. And in the late 70s or so, these ideas of allowing the regular mwananchi to have access to Wall Street, because that's where money is made. If you want to create wealth in this country, it's primarily three things: either invest in the stock market, invest in real estate, or have a business. That's primarily those three things.
Entrepreneurship, yeah.
So this in the 70s, they okay, back now to those those days of I can afford or whatever. That was the industrial era where things were made in this country.
Yeah.
Right. Then we went to war. Then men had to go, women had to go to work to the factories to work. Right. So now to entice workers to stay working, they did this whole thing about pension. Right. You work for us for a certain number of years, and then tutakulipa
lifetime
And
pension
retirement,
until you
yeah.
die, right? So that was the trade-off. You work for us and we'll take care of you when you retire.
So the
Retirement
social
age-
security back in those days was coming straight from the company.
yeah. Yeah, it was basically you work for us and we'll take care of you when you retire, right? But back in those days, you retire at 50, you're dead by 55. So, the company still wins because they're not paying you for that long. They're
Life
not
was
paying-
short,
Life was
nasty,
short.
and brutish.
Exactly.
They got the most of your years.
Yeah, they got the most of your years. And back those days, where they're working in factories. So what are you inhaling? All those chemicals and all those, your life, even your condition of life after you retired probably wasn't that great. You just pretty much went home and died. Anyway, as technology, modern health, and all that stuff started to improve, people started living longer. So you retired, 50, you live till 65. Now these companies are going, our bottom line is not looking very, it's not looking very good as we keep paying. So what do? They increase the retirement age. They're getting you on the back end and they're getting you on the front end. So now retirement is not 50, now it's 55.
Yeah.
It's not 55, now it's 60. If it's not 60, it just keeps going up and up
Moving
and up, right?
target, yeah.
So when they realized that this model now no longer works to the benefit of the corporations, they moved into this 401k model. This is where the 401k comes into play. Another book for you to read is called 401 Chaos with a K, K-A-O-S. It talks about how 401k was started and the whole whatever. That term 401k is a tax code.
Yeah.
It's an
the
IRS tax code,
yeah.
which is a benefit for the employer, not the employee. And that's a lot of things. That's one thing that people don't know, that the 401k, it's a tax code that benefits the employer.
Stop. I want to make sure I get the name of the book correct.
401.
40100.
401, yeah, and then K,
K.
but it's spelled, it's K, so the book is 401 Chaos. They talk about the chaos of the 401k.
Okay.
So it's 401,
Okay.
Chaos.
and then K.
Is it all one?
Yeah, it's one word, yeah.
Okay, cool.
The author of the book is Andy Tanner. He's actually Robert Kiyosaki's right-hand man.
Okay.
But anyway, so this 401k now, they took the onus of the companies taking care of the employees after they retired to now everything is on your shoulders. You save your own money, you take care of yourself. Okay? But then there was this other middleman that was added to this whole process, which is Wall Street, because you had now had to invest your money. Like you open up a 401k, but you're investing your money somewhere. Well, where is that somewhere? Well, you want access to Wall Street, here's the way for you to access Wall Street. We're going to put you in these things called mutual funds. Okay? And that was fine. It worked for a while, but we all know that everything, whenever there's money to be had, people are going to get greedy. That's always the way things go, right? So what was once a very, very good product for regular, Americans to get access to the stock market, when they start charging more fees and more fees to manage, we got to manage this 401k and take more fees on the back end, manage this 401k, take more fees. And then, by the way, they make that commission regardless of how your portfolio performs. So it's not like they have a responsibility to maintain your portfolio to go up. So you're putting money into your 401k every 2 weeks. Yes, your company is matching. That's the carrot, by the way. That's where the tax benefit comes for the corporation, because when you put money in your 401k, you are deferring taxes to a later time. But that match your company gives you, they write it off that year because to them, it's a write-off. It's a deduction, right? So you have to understand the products that you are invested in. And there's nothing wrong with the 401k model. Like I said, it's now the products that are inside of it. I mentioned Henry Ford, the first
Ford T.
T model.
Model T, yeah.
That was a very good car. It was a huge upgrade from the old-fashioned, let's get a donkey and take it for a ride, right? When the car came,
Baradi.
yeah, when the Model T was created, it was a better invention than what was currently there, right?
Okay.
Now, in today's world, mutual funds were the product back in those days, but now there are better products, there are better cars. We have Teslas, we have EV vehicles, right?
Okay.
So do you still want to drive a Model T? Will it still get you to where you're going? Yeah, of course. You can invest in the mutual funds and you'll still retire and you'll have money in your account. But could you have done better? Could you have used a better vehicle to give you the same results, if not better? And bypass the middleman, who's this fund manager. And there's nothing wrong, again, with fund managers. They're just doing their jobs as well too. They're sales guys, commission, right? If you don't get an asset under management, you're not getting paid. So those guys also have to feed their families. But people have to understand what products they're getting themselves into before they, put all their eggs in that one basket.
Now, here's the thing. It's easy to say people have to understand these products, and people already know that they have to understand these products, you know. But from my personal experience, there's not necessarily a good job that's done in making people understand what's in this product, and it's not necessarily an easy thing for someone to understand if you've been to nursing school and nursing is what you know, and then you're getting your first job, and then here they're telling you, or you can either get in a target date fund or you can get in this fund. Those things are Greek. And I, myself personally, as a finance professional, 100% of the time, I try to put myself on the other side of the spectrum. And I realize what a pathetic job human resource departments do. Not to their fault, but to the effect that those people in the HR department, because those are the ones who teach you about 401k. And for most, sessions that I have attended in different jobs that I've been in, I start noticing that these people are being forced to explain a product
they don't
that
understand.
they don't
They also
understand.
Yeah. But I think how companies have been set up, it's more like it's your job as the employee to learn these things. We're just providing the vehicle for you. You need to learn these things, right? And then we come into the to the situation with zero knowledge of what's supposed to be doing.
Which it goes back to the issue of financial education. This stuff should be taught in schools.
In schools.
Like taxes should be taught in the two main things that individuals have to deal with on a daily basis is people and money. And that's the least education that there is out there about how to deal with people and money.
And I think
That's
some school
true.
districts are getting now hip with this. They're starting.
Yeah, they're starting to adapt
make
them,
it
but
compulsory.
man, we got a long way to go.
Yeah, but overall, there's still very little knowledge. Like even with people who are so sophisticated, someone who's a rocket scientist, but they don't understand their 401k.
Absolutely.
No, I think Mika wanted to say something.
Mika.
And then I'll chime in.
No. I wanted to say that when I came to this country, and then when I started working, every company that I've gone to, I've realized when it comes to the benefits parts, they have that benefit specialist, and they always tell you on boarding, let's go through your benefit packet and tell you stuff. But then when it comes to the financial part of it, is where it's just skimmed off. And then what I've noticed now is that the Fidelities, the Vanguards, and all these companies now that are offering that product to your company are the ones who are now doing the outreach to the employees. It's more of them coming out to you and teaching you more about the product than you depending on your HR departments, which I believe it's way better now. But one thing we also need to do is that, as you said, school and everything, when you start working with with an American, especially a white American over here, they usually know exactly what they're going to ask for their benefits. You do not. I think it's time that we should also start having these conversations at home on our dinner tables with our friends, with our hangouts. It should be a more common conversation, especially to our kids.
Wow, and it's very interesting that that Mika brings that up. Some of the advantage that the white kids have is that their parents, have already taught them these things. They're already aware. They know exactly what they want to pick. They know, about matching. They know about maxing. They know about traditional and Roth IRA, when the rest actually don't know. And I think, in these meetings that we have, sometimes there are, prayer meetings, and meetings about what. I think we should have get-togethers for people
Financial education
to just discuss these financial things. Bring up questions that you have, and it's okay. Just come and tell us, there's this 401k thing this is what I was told to take, but I don't exactly understand it. I personally worked with a couple of people, and we have to start trusting each other, because I think people are also people are also scared. Wangari atajua how much I make. Vile mi hapa najifanya ka cool kid, kumbe I'm on minimum wage. Those things. I know people are worried about the wrong things. People are worried about the wrong things sometimes. Yeah.
No. Are you affording the band?
I actually want. Let me support. I think Mika had hacked my mind process of thinking, because I was gonna say, in as much as we can teach in school, that's okay. But I think the first and the most fundamental school ni nyumbani.
Okay.
And by that I mean, of course it starts with us, but I think now that we know, because sometimes we may not really truly be able to rely on school to teach.
Yeah.
The onus is on us to implant, to just sow a seed. Of course, you at least having a little bit of knowledge and not being chapered character development when it comes to taxes. But already, even now as we are right now, even this conversation, more or less, we can go home, you even start thinking, okay, you know what, let me go and look at what we have. But if you really don't know then what you have or what you're looking at, then I think that is where also now the trust thing comes up. And instead of looking at somebody else, you can look at somebody like, maybe one of our own, because again, I think that's where we were headed, where we don't really trust us to show us and to guide us.
Okay. The other thing before, because I know you want to say something to that, I do financial literacy, and I've decided I'm just gonna do to middle schoolers, because I think they need it more than adults, because adults won't, it's really hard. We have this thing, anything's more cultural, that is, we don't tell each other about our finances, right? So me come and talk to you about money in any way, form, hata kama ni just awareness, it's like you're in my business. I've had people, I do taxes, somebody who come, because I believe if your income is just a W-2, you should not be paying someone else to do your taxes.
No, please,
you should
tax
not,
it yourself.
right? So I've told people, come, I'll teach you how to do taxes.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, I'll definitely be there. Tax time. Oh, you know what? Just to go with my CPA. Who's your CPA? This white guy somewhere.
Or some Nigerian.
As long as somebody in the Kenyan community.
Give business everywhere else, but not even in your own community.
And by the way,
some Nigerian she's giving you, like good returns.
By the way,
wait until you get audited.
Even the Williams and Amiri, by the way. No, that's what they do. Wow. But I think for them is more like, if I share my W-2 with you, I'm essentially giving you insights to my finances, which I'm not supposed to be doing, right? Which I think sets us back, because I'm here to tell you, okay, you pay me today, but going forward, you will do this thing by yourself and save that money. But to trust me to do that,
it's a big thing.
But I'm the cool kid, and I'm on minimum wage. And you don't know that.
Some of these people are not on minimum wage.
But I don't want you to know what I make.
That's the thing. They do not want.
Because if you know what I make, you're gonna go tell Kinanani when you're sitting at a barbecue
Ama, you
somewhere.
judge me for my decision.
No, watch out even when we go.
Which is ridiculous.
Or if I don't give money at the Chango, then you look at the family.
And he makes 200,000 a year.
I know. Ama, when we go to Swahili village, I'm the one who's always paying.
Doesn't buy drinks.
Yeah.
And you make $200,000.
Yeah, so kuna issues kama hizo hapo.
Kumbe you have a gambling problem. Oh, sorry.
Okay. I want to go back to what you and Mika said about, white people having an advantage. I travel teaching this stuff, all over the country. We've been to LA.
Who pays those ones? The taxpayer?
No.
Oh, sorry.
No. That one is my sweat. But you'll be amazed how
it's a tax write-off? Oh, sorry.
Yes, it is. But you'll be amazed how people are similar when it comes to money. The lack of financial education it does not discriminate. Yes, they have a bit of an advantage because they're coming from generational of passing down, right? Their grandfather had a house, he passed away, he left them a house, maybe they had a retirement account. So their starting point, where they start versus where we start when we come here.
Cushion.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. But it doesn't mean that they're making sound financial decisions. You will be amazed when
Yeah.
we sit with people and we look at what they've done, we're like, you've done great. Could you have done better? Yes. But you've earned that money. You've created the wealth, but you're not protecting it because it takes one lawsuit. It takes one person coming to your house, falling. You have equity in this house. It's paid off. You have no mortgage. You don't understand now the trifecta that can happen now, the trickle down effect of now how you can easily lose it just like that. So having money doesn't solve your money problems. It just
Compounds
elevates what it is, what you are. If you're a giver, you're going to be a giver. If you're a stingy person, you're going to be a stingy person. So ukiwachwa pesa ni your grandfather and you were never a giver, you're not going to do anything, but you're just going to hoard that money and not ever do anything with it, never take a risk, never invest it, never do anything with it because it's just how you've been conditioned and how you've grown up. So yes, they have the benefit of that. They have generations that have earned income in this country, so they have a better head start. But how they manage their money and where they invest their money and how they invest their money, it's still the same issue. Financial
So,
education
Nazema,
is across the board.
Even that cushion,
Yeah.
us and them, we're in the same WhatsApp group.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
sir.
Exactly.
There is two groups on Facebook that I follow, Choose FI and Women. It's a Choose FI, but for women.
For
only.
women, yeah. There's even one for immigrants.
Oh, I want to
There's
join
a
that
Choose
one.
FI for
I
immigrants
really want
too.
to join that
Allah.
one. The one for women, like I see, literally have, and I love the authenticity and vulnerability of women who put this is my financial situation. Can
This is
someone
me.
tell me what to do? And I think we need to get to that point where like I like the fact that they own up to like, I never cared about money. My husband used to do this, but now we are divorced. I don't know what the heck to do.
That's
right?
another. Sure, I need to come back for talk about women and money, but we'll
another
show.
time. And the other one is
Yes, please do come back.
Choose FI. You'll find people who make a ton of money, but like they have no savings. They spend all their money. It's just crazy.
Is that the one with the podcast too? Choose
Yeah.
FI?
Yes,
Yeah, that's the one with
that's
the
one.
podcast,
Yeah.
Let me join that, man.
Yeah.
Soka.
Please.
Yeah,
okay.
and if you listen to the Choose FI podcast, go back to when they started in 2017 and just listen episode by episode. Very amazing.
I need to read comments.
Yeah.
Sorry, for cutting you short. Steven says, immigrants, Aki, we suffer a lot. The levels of acclimatization into this country is exhausting. It's like you hit a reset in your brain and life. The financial market is really intimidating to some. Lucky for those who have people who are informed in advance. One mic, in defense of HR, many times the vendors are invited to hold educational sessions for the employees, but many employees opt to not attend. They fail to follow up with all the resources provided. Steven says, my wife is African American and I had no clue about finances and 401k, and I had to learn how to invest on our own and asking around. Tabitha says, I think when it comes to financial education, often in group sessions, those who educate us on finances are selling products like life insurance. What would be good would be people giving financial education without being associated with selling a specific financial product. Then it is objective feedback. Stevens, I think, okay, keep going.
Yeah.
Also, she says failing to communicate about money is also part of the reason people are underpaid at work. 100%. For me, in my 20s, when I talked about pay with my colleagues, is when my mind was blown learning how much more they made, and it changed everything. If I hadn't had the conversation, I would have thought we all earned the same.
Exactly.
Now, I wanna go back to some of those comments that Tabitha made about the financial educators being people who are pushing products. As someone who's been in the industry for quite a couple of years, I cringe when I see this thing, and I feel almost helpless because the way social media is set up. If you go and someone is pushing a product and there are so many cheerleaders, and then you go tell them that this is not this is not good for you,
Yeah.
you'll be branded as a hater,
Right.
you'll be branded as someone who's against progress.
The
Yes.
pitchforks.
Yes, and I see this so many times, and I think I've shared even with you guys a couple of times when I see people being advised not to put money in their 401ks, but put them in IULs instead.
Not to buy Starbucks coffee.
No, I mean, I have no problem about those ones of don't buy Starbucks coffee. I mean, that doesn't. I mean,
You can buy Starbucks coffee if you're buying the shares of
Don't-
Starbucks before you go get the
don't buy a
coffee.
house.
Yeah, or people who are advising people very bravely, don't buy a house, just rent for life. Like it's not worth like buying a home. And to me, I think for me, my personal approach, before I even recommend anything, I have to get to know the person. Tell me about yourself. Like who are you? Are you single? Are you married? Do you have kids? What are your most immediate financial goals? You could be telling someone, oh man, you should be putting all your money in your 401k,
Yes.
but this person is not meeting rent. So you can't.
Yeah,
So
priorities.
that's the reason why you have to know someone first. But you have a host of people who are pushing products, and they're paid commissions for giving out these products, and they're masquerading as they're out there, like helping people. And that's why
advisors.
I think, unfortunately, as much as life insurance is very important, I think there's a lot of conflict of interest with the way the industry is set up, because that person selling the life insurance, they also have to eat at the end of the day.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of conflict of interest, which sometimes may come to work against you. And that's why it's good when we have these, I call them fiduciary forums, where we are all friends, we are all family members, we all are rooting for each other. So let's just come sit out here and lay down
talk.
everything and talk.
Here's my thing. This country does not lack options, right? And if you're presented with this life insurance product versus this insurance product versus this, it's your job to do what? To figure out which one works best for you. For me, I have a certain type because right now, that's what I need in my life right now. Maybe years later, when I'm at a different level or a different, income, bracket or whatever, then I can get another type of life insurance. But you have to assess where you are. Your financial situation is not the same as the other person. And you all cannot be uniformed in doing, if everybody's doing, what are they called?
IULs.
Those things. Yeah.
What are you
To
else?
me,
Or buying crypto. I know
Can
crypto
you-
is
okay,
another
okay.
crypto is another
don't
word
trigger
that's
me, please.
it's another trigger.
Don't trigger me.
You're using technical terms. What's
What
the
is
question?
what is IU?
Universal index something.
Index universal life.
life ins-
Yeah, it's life insurance, but one that you tend to get
Here's-
some money back on it.
Here's my opinion on life insurance, and I'll just say it, and then we'll move on. If you go to any city in this country and you land wherever, the biggest, tallest, nicest buildings are going to be of two industries: the banking industry, followed by the insurance industry. So,
Interesting.
okay,
No,
John
that's true.
Hancock, actually,
Yeah.
in Boston, is
go anywhere.
Yeah.
I challenge
Yeah.
you. Just pay attention. When you're out there, just look around. What is the tallest, shiniest building? That sign up there, what does it say? It's either a bank or an insurance company. And if you are getting an insurance product where some of that money is being invested, but you're being told it's guaranteed low risk, what do you think the insurance company is doing with your money that you're giving
They're
them? They're
playing risk.
investing it
Yes.
Real estate.
in real estate, in the stock market, and giving you your guaranteed returns, but they make more with your money. If you have to look at yourself and assess, okay, if this guy is telling me if I invest in this mutual fund or in this whatever, it's gonna make me 10%. 10% you are okay with because it's what you're conditioned to getting, right?
Yeah.
Because it's better than a CD because a CD is like 2%, or it's
Yeah.
better than this because whatever. But you have to have something to measure it against. If the overall market, the thing that everybody tracks is the real estate market and the stock market. So if the S&P does 23% in 1 year, but here they are shining
You're
at you
getting
10%. What do they do with
But
that?
they're telling you you're protected against the down years. That's what they tell you. You're protected against the down years.
You have to do you have to have a barometer to measure against. Otherwise, you can't just take
you have
what
to be curious to
Yeah,
even know about that.
Exactly. But that's again going back to the whole thing of don't put your money where you don't understand the product. I'd
But
rather
we
you
don't
go.
even understand the entire market.
Exactly.
I'm wondering, how do we come? Because I think you know, I'm sure like if you've been doing this, you've met people who are just completely clueless about things, and they're afraid. It's just intimidating to even start working or even thinking about these things, right? We need to have empathy for them and be able to communicate these things and create awareness. I just sometimes don't know how to do that.
Okay, so everybody, I'm sure all the listeners know of Warren Buffett, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
If you're going to measure
I see Warren
success
G,
and wealth,
not Warren G.
no.
Berkeley.
Uncle
Warren B.
Warren, Uncle Warren,
Buffett,
right? I call him Uncle
and
Warren.
a ball bill, a
Okay.
budget.
All right. There's a quote, and I love this quote of Warren. It's about the value of knowledge, right? And he says, if you invested in a very, very low cost index fund, you'll be better than 90% of investors. Just pick an index like the S&P. So even if you don't know anything about anything, right? If you are, you know, if you like Warren Buffett's philosophy, I mean, he is the guru of, you know,
He's a Michael
building
Jordan.
wealth, right?
Yeah.
Then why don't you follow somebody like him? Why are you listening to somebody who you work the same job with? If that person has not become wealthy
Or
from
an
that
online
product,
guru. Yeah.
right? Why are you listening to them? If you want to become financially wealthy from the stock market, then follow people that have been financially wealthy from the stock market.
The Oracle of Omaha.
So
Exactly.
yes, so on this Oracle of Omaha, and it's very interesting, you know, like that quote, you know, like that came from Warren Buffett, which was in some of the PowerPoint slides that you shared with us. And I was wondering, you know, like this statement is actually backed.
well known.
For those who are doubting, it's backed by publicly available data.
Yeah.
You know, so if you pick, you know, like an S&P 500 fund, you don't know about investments, you don't know anything, pick an S&P
Park your
500
money
fund,
and go to
park
sleep.
your money and go to sleep. You are gonna do better than 90% of
Any of these other products you
all
pitch
these
to
other
go buy.
products that are being sold in the market. But here's my question to you now, Emily. If that's the case, this is known, you know,
Yeah.
like that people who, you know, like don't try to game the market, people who just buy the market do better than 90% of people who are actually paid to try to beat the market.
Yeah.
So if this is a fact that's known, why do people still engage in trading and also buying individual stocks?
Forex.
And this is something that you're also coaching.
Crypto.
You know, like there's Forex, there's crypto, but those are more riskier products, but let's even forget about those riskier products. Let's just talk about, you know, like, let me buy this stock because I think in the next 5 years, this is what's going to happen. Or let me sell this one because I think, you know, like in the next 2 years, it's gonna lose 80%. So because that trading, that's what really trading is. You're
Yeah.
trying to make a prediction either in the short term or in the long term.
Yeah.
And it is known that these people who do this trading overall, they rarely beat the market.
So when you start to understand how the financial markets and understand all the intricacies about the financial market, it's not just buying stocks, right? There are so many other avenues and ventures, right? And when I talk to people about this, I have to ask them, what hat are you wearing? Because there are two different perspectives. If you are wearing the investor hat, do what I just said, right? Just go buy an ETF, a low index fund, park your money in a Roth or IRA. I have, you know, preferences or whatever, but park your money and go on about your life, because that's money that you don't need right now. That's your future money. You're gonna get paid a dividend. You know, it will grow, right? Now, timing wise of when you need to access that money, you have to understand what the risk factor is when you just invest your money and park it. You have to ride the entire cycle, meaning you have to ride the 2000s. When the dot-coms happen, you're riding those dot-coms.
When COVID happens,
When
you're
COVID
riding
happens, you're riding it, right? What's coming up next, when that is, with all these inflation and high interest rates, you're riding all of that. The issue always becomes is, what if it happens the time you're planning on retiring? Right? Because your investment is just a pure appreciation. You only make money if the market goes one direction, up. If it goes down, you lose. If it goes sideways, you make nothing, right? But if you're going into that, you have to go into that knowing that,
Okay.
right? Where the financial education comes into place is, okay, if I've worked this hard to take care of my money and grow it, where is the protection and preservation? When does that kick in? And the options market was created as the insurance product for the stocks. So if one chooses to go that route of, when I think the market is crashing and it's all about timing, I can insure my portfolio, or at least I can sell my assets, go to cash, and not ride. You have to have a plan. The point is, mbako kuna plan of how you're going to manage your money, because at the end of the day, it's yours. I don't know when you plan on retiring. You could be retiring at 40 or at 60, but it's all about timing, right? That's that investor hat. Now, the trading hat, that's now generating income because you want to make a living out of trading. You're looking to pay your bills with trading, right? So there are different strategies, and that's why now the whole, okay, what's better, stocks, options, whatever. It's all about leverage and things that we cannot get into at this point, this late in the show. But just understand that there are those products as well. You can invest in stocks, you can invest in ETFs, you can invest in mutual funds. Those are all products, but I just understand the product that you're getting yourself into. When it comes to trading, now that's more technical. No emotion. You don't, you're in and out. You're looking at trading
Technical analysis.
Technical analysis. It's the same way, an auctioneer goes and buys a car low and sells it high. Right? Every now and then you might buy a Ford that you thought it was going to cost you $2,000 to fix, but it ends up costing you $5,000. That one goes as a loss. Trading is a skill. You have to understand, right? It's the same way. I have a nephew who flips shoes. He buys shoes, cleans them up, brush, puts them back on, whatever, sells them for a profit. But every now and then he's not going to make up. So that's a skill. So that's something that you're learning to do to make an income.
Is it that nephew I know?
Probably.
The one on Facebook, that Kijana, I tried to talk to him as a Joe.
I don't know.
So Emily, here is where, and I think we've had this conversation. Here is where I disagree with a concept of trading, buying individual stocks, and this is positions that people think about differently within the financial industry. So not saying that there's one that's wrong and that there's one that's right.
Right.
But here is where like my problem, like of even presenting that option for trading. There was some research, and I'm gonna go back, look it up, and I'll share it, which was saying because trading takes effort. It's not passive. It's not, you
have to put your butt in
it takes
that
effort,
seat.
meaning you're taking a certain number of hours a day to do this.
Yes.
And sometimes, like when returns are being calculated, this is not being costed because your time costs money. I don't care, you will say whatever, but your time costs money.
Yeah.
So there's that difference where you have to factor in, like if my value is $30 an hour, like if I can go to work in some random place and get $30 an hour, and you're doing trading for 8 hours a day, that's $240. So every day, from whatever you've made, you have to minus $240 because the alternative is you can take your money without putting in any time and just park it and just get the return. So my issue with trading is that the research that was done on a lot of these traders, somewhere it said like almost 90% of them end up making less than minimum wage. So that's the reason why I usually have a very big problem with that option of trading even being presented, because it's fun. It's like playing a video game. It's really like playing a video game. It is so much fun. You're gonna get so much enjoyment. But here your goal is to make money. And I think part of the problem is also a lot of people, a lot of these traders, or a lot of people who are trying to get people into trading, they, whenever you get and ask them, like, show me your results for the past 5 years, because they'll show you their wins. That's what tends to happen.
Everybody can brag about their wins.
Everybody will show you their wins, and I see this on social media all the time. They'll show you their wins. They're never gonna show you the positions they lost.
Yeah.
But then I always ask someone, give me everything of yours, show me what you've been doing for the past 5 years. And usually some of these people have not even done quite an analysis of what they've been doing, and then when you reveal to them that, my friend, like, you've been making less than minimum wage for the past 5 years, hapo ndo mnakosana. And you know, like, even when these fights come up on social media,
Yeah.
you know, people get really mad and they're like, oh, you're just not looking to these alternative products. That's the reason why, you know, for the average person, which is, when it comes to finance, it's 90% of the population.
It ain't for everybody.
90% of the population is average. These things should not be touched.
It's not for, and this is where I will keep talking about financial education to the core. The people who want to cut and take shortcuts and just go watch a YouTube video, sorry, I'm banging on the table because I get so passionate about this stuff.
We can see.
The people who want to go watch a 20-minute video on how to buy a call and a put and don't understand the intricacies of option. Which delta are you buying? Do you know about the expiration? Which month? Which contract? How long do you plan on? Are you trading this for a week? Did you look to see how much time this stock needs to go to that price that you just bought? Nobody wants to take the time to learn this stuff. They want to buy the cheap $1 option that expires on Friday, and you wonder why you lost money.
You lost me at Delta.
There you go. But
You were
ask,
thinking United.
CO Airline.
Yeah.
CO Airline.
Yeah.
CO Airline.
You were
I'm a-
thinking United.
I'm a faucet.
Yeah.
So you can use options for directional trading, which is speculation, pure speculation. You better be right that when that technical pattern happens and you see that candle, that green one that says Wall Street is buying, and you buy along with them, because as traders, we are never going to move the market. Never. We don't have enough money in the universe to move the market. We follow the hedge funds. We follow Wall Street. So when you look at a stock and you see like a green candle moving, that's what you jump on. But you better know when you're going to get out. And you better automate it, because you create emotions when you don't do what? When you don't have stop losses, when you're like, it's going to go to the moon, Sujui, we're going to go where? AMC, now, Sujui, what were the other ones?
GameStop.
GameStop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
There's
he-
a saying.
yeah.
There's a saying that Warren Buffett also says. When people are greedy, be fearful. When
Yes.
people are fearful,
Be
be
greedy.
greedy. So when everybody else was pumping and buying all these things, what were we doing, the people who are educated? We were shorting the hell out of AMC and GameStop, because you know.
But here's the thing. Let me come back there. This hedge funds
Yes.
that have all these experts.
Me and
By the way, it's your
Omosha,
401k money being traded, if you didn't know.
These hedge funds.
me and Omosha floating.
These hedge funds that have all these experts.
Me, I'm on United.
Yeah.
Here's what's not talked about.
Yeah.
They're
They're
not
human
beating-
beings.
But here's what's not being said. They're not beating the S&P 500.
Never.
Stop.
They're not beating the S&P
First of all,
500.
it's algo. It's AI, right? At this point.
we need to stop. This is where I decided I am going to advocate for awareness. There's something one Mike just said, and Nani agreed. I said, Mimi hapa na emotional floats. If we have people floating in the studio, what about people, the audience are talking about?
But
those
here's
ones-
the thing.
and you know-
Those ones drowned.
But people, but people follow trends, and this is again what I keep talking about. The
But
conditioning of all this
actually,
stuff,
the thing
right?
is this. Wenyewe kama una float, wewe hutaki kusikia.
Aye.
No, people are genuinely floating.
No,
Simplify
Maker.
it.
No, people are genuinely floating.
Let me
Can I
finish
say
my-
something?
let me
Can I-
finish
okay.
Let me finish my statement. Let me finish my
Wacha walbo.
Finish.
Let me finish my statement. You cut me off before number the statement yangu hata. So how do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm saying what I'm saying is this. In simple terms, what the two of them are trying to say is this. There was that social. There is a social. Right now, we are very capable of social media trends. We're very capable of seeing videos of people who are talking about how I quit my 9 and 5 and became an entrepreneur and made 6 figures in a certain number of times like this. What Kina Ali is saying is simple. That it's simply this. What those people don't actually tell you is that they have made those figures on the sweat of other people, following their systems and paying them, and you will just join and continue making that money for them while they continue showing other people how they're making their money. In short, Ali always says you can never predict the stock market, and you can never
Absolutely.
outthink it,
Never.
outweight it, outbeat it,
Never.
outsell it, whatever it is. It will behave how it wants to behave. When you want to day trade on the Robinhood app or Webull app, you're fighting against somebody who's been armed with AI, Python, machine learning, and an analyst behind them to predict the market.
Yep. And a whole
And
bunch of
millions of
and a whole
dollars
bunch of interns
for that.
doing all the behind the scenes research on the companies.
And yes. And what our guest started off was quoting Warren Buffett, which was, if you are in doubt, go for a tried and tested system, invest in it, and move on.
Yep.
All these other fancy things. You see, when Ali says crypto and Ali talks about crypto, he's right, because most of the crypto that people have been trying to invest in have been trying to get to Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Yeah.
Those are the first cryptos that came out. Those are the cryptos that actually, if you see people who invested in those two cryptos, did it a long time ago and waited. There was no hype, there was nothing. It was just about, there's technology, this is what you're trying to do, this is what you're working on. Everything else that came after that has been social media coins.
Yeah.
Coins that people hope that they can put a hype to it and it grows. Unfortunately, there is no work behind it the way Bitcoin is. Bitcoin mining was so hard, electricity was so expensive. There was effort of getting Bitcoin. That's why they never mine any new Bitcoin. If you're buying Bitcoin, you're just buying the Bitcoin that's existing, and that's why it's rating in value and value. The same thing with Ethereum, and the same thing with all these other coins that have value in crypto.
Okay.
So any new discovered crypto is just something that's being created by hype by people, and that's what you're saying. Just like trading, crypto, and all these other things, anything that has hype on it is being created for the market at this particular time. If it wasn't something that came out, it was tried and tested, leave it alone.
Okay, real quick, going back to what Ruth said, and that's the reason why I advocate for this, and here is we have a fundamental disagreement with financial educators. These products, why I feel like why I feel these products should never be even taught to people, and yes, I do understand it's important to maybe just know them, but the moment
calm down, take a breather.
It's okay.
Apana,
It's okay, bro.
no, Apana, it's one of those things
Passionate.
where it's one of those things where the way, and it's not all financial educators, the way it's taught like you can actually learn this product and be able to use it to beat the market. When even those people who've learned it, they know it, they've understood it, they still don't beat the market.
And they do it every day.
Let me make
And then here's another quick thing.
Yeah.
Artificial intelligence is the buzz. Guess what?
There's the
I have been monitoring, like some of the oldest AI driven ETFs. 1 year, 2 years, they could beat the market. Now the oldest ones are at 5 years. So far, none of them. And this is artificial intelligence, which is all the buzz. It knows everything. It knows what underwear color you're wearing, but it can't beat the market.
Can I give you
What about ones without
secret
hand?
that most people
I
in
know,
tech will not tell you?
Yeah.
Don't point at me. I'm just
Right
saying that
now,
you represent-
all companies have rebranded all technology companies have rebranded all their products that they used to offer and just called it AI.
Yeah.
Everything now is AI driven, but in reality, it's not AI driven.
Even if the technology is not there.
No,
It's not there. So everything, like right now, if you see, look at every type of product you've been using. Give it a few days, you'll see they have an AI product to it. Everything, but it's just the same thing. Salesforce, everything now is being AI powered.
I hate
AI
Salesforce.
Yeah. To me, the only variations, like that,
With the cash.
like the S&P 500s. That's you can go and sleep. The only variations, that I would personally approve is where there's people who have certain values. And they don't want to invest in certain kinds of
Yes,
companies.
absolutely.
So there's products nowadays that are
You
still
can
a
stock
variation
pick.
of that main of that main product. But like for
It doesn't
example, I'll
have-
talk about halal finance. For example,
Yeah.
you don't want to invest in companies that sell alcohol. You don't want to invest in companies that
Cigarettes,
that
guns.
peddle pornography. Cigarettes is actually not necessarily, but guns, weapons. You don't want to So there's actually
Victoria's Secret.
there's actually
Processed food.
variations. There's variations of the S&P 500
Ashley
that's
Madison.
halal. they've just removed the companies that are not halal.
Yeah.
And the variation, you know, like between the S&P 500 and them is usually very minimal. So to me, those are still fairly
I had a
safe
green
products.
one. I had a green one. I had to
Exactly.
get out
Oh,
of
yes.
Oh, you can
Or-
even buy
or green
you,
ones.
yeah, and you
Yeah.
can break it down, and that's the thing I keep. You know, it's gonna always go back to financial education. But before we get to that next point, there's another guy I like to follow. His name is Robert Kiyosaki, and he says this: people who refuse to open their minds to new strategies seldom become rich. Yes, crypto is here, but before that we had .com. Now we have AI. There is a portion in everybody's portfolio to allow a little bit of speculation. The problem that most people have is that they have a reverse portfolio.
Psychology, yeah.
When I sit with students and I tell them, okay, show me your retirement account, so show me what you're invested in the stock market. Unafungua portfolio and all they have is Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Tesla. Oh, so you're just all in tech. So you want to put all your money and risk it in one area of the market. Where's your Clorox? Where's your Procter & Gamble? Where's your Coca-Cola stock?
That will always
Where's your
Diversity.
utility
always
company?
there. Yeah.
You know.
Your energy companies.
Yeah, where are your energy companies? Where are your financials? Where are your, you know, all those things? Because you've put all your money, even if it's individual, it's different companies. Your money is still in one industry. It's in one sector.
Concentrated.
So when I design a portfolio for a student, it's like, okay, what is your core thing? What do you need? When do you need this money? Oh, I need it in 20 years. I need it in 5 years. Okay, so we're going to do the basics. We're going to go slow and steady, Uncle Warren style. But if you tell me I want a little bit of cash flow because I want to use some of this money to go on vacations and I want a little bit of play money, then I will design. I'll say, okay, $100,000 portfolio. Let's put 60% of it into long-term stuff. Maybe 5% to speculate. Go buy your Bitcoins. Go buy your, you know, Rivians and your, you know, Lucid companies or whatever those, because Amazon was once a no-name company.
Yeah.
It was a
Netflix.
speculative,
Yeah, Netflix was
AOL,
speculative
Yahoo,
too.
all of these companies.
Yeah.
Blockbuster.
Right? They were
Hey, Blockbuster
Exactly.
busted.
Solid.
You have
Good
to
one,
understand
good
that when you're
one.
investing your money, are you investing in a growth area of the market, which means you're taking on the most risk. It's like having different kids with different personalities. You know, you have that one kid, Mbaka, he cannot cross the street, but you have to hold his hand to cross the street, because if you let him go, it's gone, right? But then you have those slow and steady, they'll never disappoint you. Your Cokes will never disappoint you. Your Fords will never disappoint you. Your Procter & Gamble's, your Clorox, things that people are going to need. We call them the defensive area of the market, the things that people are going to spend money on no matter what. Healthcare, real estate. You need a place to rest your head. You cannot not live without real estate.
Yani hints are just being dropped. But carry on.
Right? When the times get bad, like think back to like when, you know, even us when we came as immigrants, right? There are things that we lived without when we came to this country. But when the good times were rolling, we would go and splurge, right? But what would we always have? We always had the heat on. We always had the lights on. We always paid our AC. We always went to the doctors. You know, even when we got sick, we're like, let that medical bill pile up.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go see a doctor. I'm going to get medicine, right? So there are areas of the market that are going to sustain when you have those bumpy, you know, years, right? But growth, you better understand. I'm investing in growth stocks, which means I'm going to have the most, you know, aggressive wild childs. Then you have those cyclical ones, the ones that come and go during the seasons, your energies, your banks.
Yeah.
You have to understand your portfolio.
Yeah.
And then I look at that and I say, okay, so you have diversified there. Perfect. Now, do you want a little bit of play money? Okay, how much do you want to put? You're not going to go mortgage your house and get a HELOC to go buy shares of crypto. Are you crazy? Or go buy shares of AMC? I'm not going to let you do that.
Who is he, man?
HELOC, home equity line of
Home
credit.
equity line of credit. We'll get to real estate at the next portion. Never
Yeah.
mind. Anyway, but there are people who, you know, they have
Let's
the
not use
inverse,
abbreviation.
risk of they're putting all their eggs in the wrong side. You have to have cash flow. You need growth, but you also have to have speculation. Amazon was once in a speculation category, but it's shifted.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, so was Apple, so was Microsoft,
Yeah.
but now they're the staples that hold up, you know.
Yeah. Now, as we transition into real estate, as we're wrapping up right now, before we get to that other topic that people have been waiting for, I want to say something real quick. And this is, and I think,
Wusa.
and I think for me personally,
Getting hot in here.
you know, for me personally, I like looking at the bigger picture. For those who, and not to get technical, but those who are familiar with the investing industry, there's this lady called Kathy Woods, who was
Yes.
who's a superstar,
Let's talk about her.
who was a superstar at some point. So
She still is.
So well.
Team Kathy Wood.
Well, here, okay, here, to me, okay. Kathy Woods was she was an investor long term, and she got to this point where she felt like the S&P 500s, the index funds, she started calling them fat traps, and things that just broke creativity and innovation. So she came up with this concept of investing based on disruptive technology. So whatever is disruptive, they're predicting what's going to be disruptive. So investing right now when it's low, and she made very good bets with like Tesla, you know, where she started investing in them back in 2014. She did have some very good bets, and during the pandemic, you know, like her portfolios, you know, like skyrocketed. You know, like they went up. They were going up 100, you know, like 120%.
Can I give you her
in a
actual
year.
numbers?
You got, but here's the main point. She, you know, and to me, you know, like as a believer in index funds, at some point I started, you know, like also, you know, falling for that hype. And to me, I think she might be right. You know, I'm not saying she's wrong. She might be right. Her portfolios are still very young, because they started, I think, around 2014.
Yeah.
And for me personally, I look at portfolios from spans of at least 20 years, meaning they've gone through at least 3 crashes. That's going to give you a good picture of where this is going. So Kathy's portfolios experienced their first crash in 2022 when the stocks went down, and they really got hammered.
I am going to bring you down to earth for
Yeah,
that. Explain who Kathy Wood is.
So Kathy Woods is
What
an
she
investor.
does.
She's an investor.
Because again, you're in the clouds.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Kathy Woods is an investor. You know, like she's one of those very popular investors. You know, like when you think Warren Buffett,
Okay.
when you think I mean, I'm not gonna put at Warren Buffett's level, but she just invests in the market. Warren Buffett actually buys and sells companies. You know, looks at fundamentals. But I think with Kathy has created, you know, like ETFs. I don't know that she has mutual funds, but I know she has.
She has the okay. So can I do a
Kathy Wood
Kathy
intro.
Wood? Yeah.
Okay.
So all right. Remember, I was just talking about this whole things with your portfolio. How does your
Yeah.
portfolio look like? If I sit with a student and all they have is tech growth companies, then their portfolio is matching that of Kathy Wood, because Kathy Wood invests in growth
disruptive
company,
technology,
okay?
specific kinds of technology.
Her number one asset in her portfolio is Tesla. Okay, she has $778 million in Tesla. Number 2, Zoom, Roku, Block, Coinbase, Shopify, DraftKings, Roblox, Robinhood. That's the kind of stuff she's in. She's investing in things that she believes in the idea of where these companies are going. So she's in that growth, you know, like that's what she's investing in those growth companies.
Okay.
So what does that mean? You take the good, the bad, and the ugly. Okay? 2020, her portfolio was up 152%. So she outperformed the market and then some. If the S&P did 22% in 2022, she did 152%. Okay? In 2017, she did 87%. But like Ali said, because now these are the wild child companies, when the market goes down and people get away the fear, they leave the growth stocks and they go to the what? To the fundamental stocks, the defensive stocks.
Stable
She lost 64%. But now do the math. 152% in 2020, 87% in 2017, but then you're down 64 in 2022. Is she still profiting? Does she still have her portfolio still have money? Of course.
So let's
right?
talk the math.
Hold on. No.
Okay.
Let me.
Let's talk that math.
You know, but do I want to stop the math?
Yeah.
A bit.
You know why I want us to talk the math.
But I'm trying to identify the type of investor people are, right? Then
Okay.
you have a guy called Bill Ackman, right? He does actually the cyclical stuff. He just changes his portfolio as the market changes.
Okay.
So when the shift goes from growth and it goes to defensive, he moves his portfolio,
Okay.
right? So he shifts with the market. He does the market cycles. And then now there's Uncle Warren, who just says what? Just ride the wave.
Stable.
Have
Stable.
everything in your portfolio, a little bit of tech, a little bit of banks, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Okay.
You have to identify now yourself as an individual. Who do I want to mirror? If you're a Kathy Wood type of investor, then that's how that you have to ride those things. If you're Bill Ackman, that's who you are. If you're Warren Buffett, that's who you are. But you have to have an identity as who you are as an investor.
Okay. I think, like the difficulty that most people have in understanding when we mention those big numbers, like she made 150% in this year and 120% in this year, is because when someone calculates 120, 110 this year, and then she lost 65% this year, they're looking at it like, I'm still in a good position. But when you look at the actual math, for example, like if you have $100 and then you gain 100%, you have $200. But in that year, when you have $200, you lose 70%. So your thinking is, I gained $100 here, and I'm losing, I gained 100% this year, and I'm losing 70% this year, so I'm still okay. But you're not, because when you are $200 and you lose 70%, 70% of $200 is 140, meaning you're behind where you were last year. So back to Kathy
But
Woods.
net, you're still profitable because you started with 100.
No, wait a second. So Kathy Woods, with those 100, so where Kathy Woods is today, like if you had invested in her portfolio, it has gone down back to where it was in 2018. So that means if you put your money in 2018 in a Kathy Woods portfolio, 5 years, you put in $100,000.
Back to scratch.
Where are you today? You're
Money
back
before
at
2018.
$100,000.
Yep.
So when those percentages can be very confusing, and this is why I like Kathy Woods, because Kathy Woods is the person who made me pay school fees on these speculative products. I'll be honest. I bought.
Can you explain what school fees is for you, though?
Okay, I paid school fees. School fees is when you refuse to go to school, but then you went to learn from life.
The street of hard knocks.
Yeah, the street of hard knocks. So at some point, it wasn't. It was a small amount. It was some play money, but I learned my lesson. And here I was, because to me, I'm always open to learning. I'm always open to these disruptive new ideas. But over those many years, all these disruptive ideas, including AI-driven portfolios, they've still not been able to beat the market. And I think that's where, I think for the average person, and the average person, I'm talking 90% of the people, they have no business in speculating. They have no business in trying to see, unless you want to pay school fees, like I did.
Or
Yeah.
you can pay a mentor who's been there, done that can teach you what they know.
That's okay.
And that's what I do.
That's
is
okay.
Financial education, which
Yes.
is teaching you how to. You have to click. You have to be willing to sit down. And I've done it both ways. I paid it to the market, right? I paid it because I didn't know what I was doing. So in 2008, when the 401k became a 201k, that was me, paying it to the street because I didn't know.
Yeah.
Then I had to pay somebody else now again to teach me the right way of doing it. Hard lessons learned there.
Yes, hard lessons. Now, time has really gone. We want to wrap up. Real quick, Emily. Real estate. It has been touted as one of the greatest wealth building opportunities, especially in the United States.
Yes.
Because of how fast you can build wealth.
Yeah.
You already told us earlier that you've not done real estate investing in Kenya, so it's not part of what you like to talk about. But I'm sure, I am sure you have seen people investing in real estate in Kenya.
Yes.
I'm sure you have done. You said like some of your family members are investing in real estate in Kenya. Some of your family members who lived here or who have lived here.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've done an analysis.
Yeah.
On what they're investing in. So talk to us from a perspective of not someone in Kenya investing in Kenyan real estate, but someone who's here in the US with all the investment options they have here in the US and investing in real estate in Kenya. What's your quick view about that?
For me, it was a huge mindset shift. It comes down to cash flow. What do I need this year, next year, to live the lifestyle that I want to live? If I want to go on vacation six times next year, how much cash flow do I need in my account? And what instrument am I going to use to generate that cash flow for me? So is it going to be the stock market? Is it going to be real estate? And just like how even us, with our mindset and mentality of what we thought was investing in real estate back home, we used to buy just land and let it sit there, right? Then what did we find out? After you've bought this land, you've sat on it, you retire, if this land is not generating any income, any cash flow, you're property rich and cash poor,
Cash is king.
right? So even us, even those who invest in Kenya now, they've stopped. A few of them have stopped their whole buying land and sitting on it. They are actually buying properties. They are buying houses to rent, to Airbnb, to do all these things, because they are seeing that just having a title doesn't mean anything. If that title is not bringing in some cash flow for you to live off of, what good is it? But if that's the route you want to go, then that means it's the same thing as investing in the stock market. You're parking your money there and just banking on the appreciation of that land, that one day you're either going to build and create something that will generate cash flow off of it, or you're going to sell it for a profit, right? So for me, it's all about cash flow. Whether I earn it in Kenya, whether I earn it here, it doesn't matter. But because I'm here now and my kids are here, that's where I'm generating that cash flow. And when you look at how people invest in real estate here in the US, it goes back to what we were conditioned back in Kenya. We were conditioned to buy land and sit on it. Here, they're taught what? Buy a property and rent it out. And it's usually a single family or a townhouse or a condo. You usually buy your first home and then you buy your investment home second, right? And again, just from learning and understanding how this country works, your home, your primary home is not an asset, it's a liability, because it's not bringing any money in. You buy a house, mortgage, you repairs, all that stuff, that your home is not a liability. If you're able to sell it at a future date for a profit, that's when it becomes that money turns into something. But all that equity that's building in it while you live in it means absolutely nothing. It is a fake number. It is a it's a fugazi. It's a fugazi. It's fairy dust, right?
But you can get a HELOC.
That's now the
Value.
education comes in, right? Tax and asset protection. So for me, it's about and I did that. We'll get there.
Okay.
So the properties that I was buying we were buying and renting out, right? They lost value. We lost tenants. Everything that we owned was in our name. So guess who's coming after you? Your HOAs, the mortgage companies, all of that stuff was in our name. So we lost everything and our credits were impacted. But what I was lacking was what? I should have bought these properties under entities, or at least transferred ownership into an entity that way.
By an entity, you mean an LLC?
A corporation, an LLC, a C Corp, an S Corp, whatever fits your personal preference, right? When you talk to your CPA. But that's the thing that we never get taught. But so now what I found out now after I got the education is that, by the way, when you're young, and I talk to young kids, like my nephews and my nieces, and I'm like, when they're just getting out of college, and I'm like, listen, don't buy your house. Don't buy a house to live in. Your first house should not be a single family or a townhouse where you just have one door, one income. Buy a duplex or fourplex.
House hacking.
Yeah. Buy a duplex or live in one and rent out the other two. That way your tenants are paying for. Yeah. Then after that, you can go buy your dream home. House. But you have to it's all about assets over liabilities, especially for like couples that are getting married. You have two incomes, that's two credit scores. Don't go buying a house together to me a mortgage credit with one house and one mortgage. Individually, go buy your own. That way, you get your own duplex, and
exactly.
Go buy your own duplexes, new really.
You're your couples.
Prophet of doom.
You're your couples.
But it's
you're your couples. Like I think that's also very important to know, because I think when people are in love,
you're thinking, marriage, wedding, dress.
Yeah.
I mean, wait.
That's when people are in love when somebody's whipped.
Wait, listen.
Wow.
But like, isn't that the premise though? Yeah. Like, let's not bash that side.
No one but you.
However, if you own your property, if you bought the house, nothing against that, but now utilize that money that is it's dead money, the value that is in your house, the equity that you've had in your house.
Yeah.
People are in a rush to pay off their mortgage, and we're sitting there going, why?
Bad decision.
Why? That's the cheapest interest you will ever get in your life. Why do you want to hurry up and pay off your mortgage?
In fact, one of the worst decisions that I made, school fees. Like when I let me not say it was the worst decision. It was just a bad decision.
Yeah.
Like I had an option when I bought my home. I had an option of paying a 5% down payment, but because I had previously, like had trauma with debt, because I just cleared my debt, I repaired my credit.
You wanted to just put as much as you could put down.
So I put 20% down. I put 20% down, but I would never advise someone to do that. If you have that cash,
Go buy
keep
another
that cash
asset.
aside.
House rich, cash poor.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes. So,
And you put 20% down
I put
on a
20%.
$500,000 house.
He got it
More
like
than
that.
you.
He got it like
Can
that.
we do the math? 20%.
That's why he became poor.
That's 80,000.
That's why he became poor.
cash money, fari.
But that's why he became
Jesus.
poor.
You
Don't you
But
remember?
pesa.
Don't you
Now,
remember how
have
poor
you
he
put
became?
that money?
Miko,
Have you put that
umesikia
money
hiyo?
in another asset?
No, that's true.
Right?
That's true. But school fees, you know, like
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah,
to
you
me
learn.
it's a lesson that I learned, and to me in the back of my mind, I kind of knew it, but then you know, like if you've been in debt and you've had
Oh,
bad
yeah.
credit, there's always that fear.
Because that's where I went back to ground zero.
Mm-hmm.
After going through all that experience, I was like, I'm never having a credit card. I'm never buying. Everything will be my debit card. Blah blah
Yes.
blah. Da, 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 da.
Yes.
Then you go take this class, and then they're telling you everything you've been doing has been wrong, and you fight those
Instincts.
things because you've lived it all your life, and somebody's telling you you've been doing it wrong, and you're like, what do
Yeah.
you mean?
You know, yeah, this is how
What
it
do you
has
mean?
been done.
Credit cards are good. Credit cards are not bad or good. They're just a tool. How you use
Yeah.
them determines whether they are bad for you or good for you.
Yeah.
And that's why when you go to the Dave Ramsey School of
Americans are
Thought,
very good.
because I know you also talk about Dave
Dave
Ramsey
Ramsey
in
and
some of your
Kiyosaki's
classes.
mindset, yeah.
Yeah, Dave Ramsey has totally I mean, he's a legend, you know, like when it comes to crushing debt, but he has totally refused to learn about, you know, like credit card points and how you can use credit cards in your favor. He's just totally
Not that
refused.
he's refused. He uses them for his business.
That's the thing.
Yes,
He uses
but
it
what he
himself.
teaches-
What he teaches is something, and I actually believe in his
His philosophy for crushing debt, yes.
for consumers.
Yeah.
Because if you do not know how to, if all you do is consume, meaning the newest thing comes out, you gotta go
You're
buy
buying,
it.
yeah.
And then you're using a credit card to go buy, which then has interest. So now you're paying more of that
lot
thing
of
because you put
people-
you put it on
Yeah.
a credit card. So 95% of the people should listen to Dave Ramsey. But
Yes.
after you've done that, what next?
Okay.
After you've paid off
I
your
think-
credit
Yeah,
cards,
I
yeah.
Because you
I
cannot
agree.
save your way to wealth.
You
There's
cannot.
no way you can
There's
save your
no way.
yeah.
No.
I agree with that, and I think when I kept saying we're losing people, I think this is kind of that we've brought it back to
Back,
like what
yeah.
what I was trying to say. A ton of people are just more afraid of like they either are in credit card debt, right, or again they are spending way more than they make, or. And I think that's where
But-
Dave Ramsey comes in for them. Now, it's getting people, because literally there's somebody that tried to tell, listen, you're traveling a lot. Why don't you get a travel credit card? And they're like, no, I can never do that. I don't want to get into debt, right? So, but because they've been conditioned by Dave Ramsey to never, ever look at a credit card positively, that's where they're, like, nikakwambia, honestly, where they are, they feel like, you know what, I don't have the burden of debt. To them, that is peace. Which is what he teaches, by the way.
But then I think what is the issue is here is that people don't understand how credit card works.
And they need
Because
to learn.
a credit card is not a debt. You're not supposed to use credit card as debt. Basically, what you're supposed to do, and especially how you can make these credit cards actually make money for you, in terms of if you're using a debit card to pay all your bills and everything, there's no reason why you should not be using a credit card and
To
getting
run it through that first.
money back from the money of what you on what you're doing.
Points,
Don't buy
miles, and
what
cashback.
basically what it means is just use a credit, and I like the term charge card better than credit card, right? The way American Express call itself, it's a charge card. There's no credit here. What you use, you pay. It's simple as that. There's nothing like we're extending credit to you. No, we're gonna pay it for you, but at the end of the statement period, pay it off. When you pay it off, you get rewards for it. Those rewards actually make life easier for you. They give you access to a lot of things on the cheap, and some of them for free. And those things you can use, as in they open doors for you that actually, if what Dave Ramsey has taught you that you're not supposed to be in debt, these things actually give you access to things that you would have paid more for a cheaper rate.
Okay.
It's just that people don't want to learn about this, and people are scared and anal about cash is king, but just cash is king, but also
Cash
a
flow
credit card
is
not
king.
a
Cash
credit
is
card
not
isn't
king.
there anymore, but credit card is just money that, okay, I'm using it for now, I'll pay it back and I'm done.
Okay, I'm gonna read a few comments here, and then we're gonna wrap up before we go to our closing topic of the day, which I know a lot of people have been waiting for. And real quick, regarding credit cards, when I was working, in the credit card unit of I've worked for PNC Bank, I've worked for Wells Fargo, I've worked for what is now Capital One here. It was called Chevy Chase back then. And here is an interesting thing that also I think is important, even for people who are paying off credit cards, to understand. First of all, is to have the understanding that the house always wins when it comes to credit cards. You know, like
Stephen Batty said that.
Yes, the house always wins.
And the house is the bank.
So there's two ways in which you know, like these cards make money. One of them is in transaction fees. The more you swipe, the more Amex gets money on both on interest and both on the swiping fees, because they own the card. Most of these other banks, they don't own that transaction processing. It's owned by Visa or MasterCard. So Visa or MasterCard gets that transaction. So they also have an incentive to want you to swipe. So there's an issue of those people who don't pay off their cards. That's just a no-no. You know, like you're going to end up paying so much money. And then there's the issue of the people who pay their credit cards. But here's the thing about these point cards, you know, like which I brought up at some point and on my timeline, and some people wanted to chew me off. This is what happens.
With American Express.
This is what happens
I'll pay
sometimes.
the fee.
This is what happens when forget about the fee. Okay, fine. The fee, the $700 fee, that's ridiculous for an average traveler. You know, you travel 2-3 times a year. That's a ridiculous fee you're paying for a card. But for someone who travels frequently, they might get value out of it. But what tends to happen when you get these cards and they start giving you certain benefits, you start spending in areas that you would normally not have spent. You never had. You never.
Not disciplined as a
Not
consumer.
necessarily.
Mika. Let me talk about, because I have data. I'm not talking based on what I feel. I have data because I used to work in a bank. So you tend, someone who never used to have a subscription for example, for
Netflix.
New York Times.
Okay.
Now, because it's being offered,
For free.
they get the subscription. Someone who never had a subscription for Hulu. I mean, and it's to me, if you had it from before, if this is something that you were spending before, but there's a trend that shows these benefits that people are offered, they actually tend to take them when they were not using them before. So what happens that I know Amex especially advertises that you know, out of this $700 fee you're paying, you're gonna get $1,400 value. Very nice, you know, very nice return. But there's a few people, there's a 5 or 10% who actually profit from that. But I'll tell you, 90% will start spending in spaces that they were previously not spending. They will start going to hotels that they were previously not going to. And that's the actual goal. You know, they want you to go to these places where you're previously not going to. So now, yes, you're paying off, you're not paying any interest. But now, because walikuwa ni mtu hoteli za $100, $100, wachana motel 6. Wachana motel 6. Tuseme hoteli za $100. Tuseme Red Roof Inn. Ulikuwa mtu wa Red Roof Inn. But now, because you have this card, you're now going to stay in a certain hotel because there's a benefit. And you see, when you stay in those hotels, there's also other things that you're spending on based on staying in those hotels. So here it is. Maybe Mika, you know, like, and all those people, maybe you're all in the 5%, because there's between 5 to 10% are the ones who actually profit. 90% wanakamatwa. And that's the reason why I tell people, when it comes to these cards with fees, be very, very careful, especially when you've accumulated them. You have one that's $700. You have another one that's $550, ya Chase. You have ile Venture X, ya Capital One, that's $395. These things add up. So you have around $2,000 a year.
The thing is,
you have around
anybody who has
$2,000 a
them,
year. You have around $2,000 a year in fees that you're paying. The more cards you have, the less you're gonna spend on each. You know, like when you have 1 or 2 cards, all your spending is divided between these 1 or 2 cards. When you have 10 cards, now your spending is spread out across 10 cards. So it becomes more difficult to meet that minimum. And there's a 10%. Mika, you're in the 10%.
Mika,
let's say
can
that.
I
You're in the 10%.
Before
but
you chime in.
90%.
Mika, what were you saying?
No, I was saying there's no need for anybody to have 2 premium cards. right?
Yes.
As in, you can have two premium cards from two different companies. You can have the Venture X and you have Capital One. You can have Sapphire and have Venture X. I don't see why you can have Sapphire and American Express, the platinum at the same time. You can have a Sapphire and a gold. Like it. The thing is, when it comes to these cards, you have to know which cards, where are you
The benefits
benefiting from
are.
these cards. There are
Yes.
cards which give you more points by just going for grocery shopping.
Mm-hmm.
Like groceries too.
Let's not get into linking your like, you know,
regularly.
linking
that's
Instacart
something
and
like
all these other things to get extra points and all that stuff.
Yeah, so that's something like the American Express Gold. So you can get that. That's your point harvester, right? And then now for the platinum benefit, you can go to the Venture X, which has a $250 fee, but will give you nearly everything that the American Express Platinum could have given you. Right? The only difference maybe is just the lounges that you're not gonna get into the American Express lounge, you're gonna get to the Capital One Express lounge. So it's you also learning how these credit cards are and figuring which one is your point harvester for you, how you're gonna get points and how your daily spend is. Don't get a card just because a card gives you access to this. Get a card based on how your spend is, and then look how you maximize from your spend.
I have a minimum. I have a minimum threshold for my students. I tell them, especially because a lot of them come from the Dave Ramsey mindset, and so when I'm winning them back into understanding credit cards, I say, okay, start with at least 3. If you like to travel, pick an airline and stick with it, so you can get miles for that airline. So if you like Delta, get an Amex card. If you like to travel and you want to stay in a hotel, pick a hotel and stick with it. So now you can start to rack up points for that one specific hotel. So get a card, go to that hotel's website and apply for the card that they're offering. And then get another card that gives you cash back. Now, when you travel, you're flying for free, you stay for free, and you eat for free when you get there. Just have those 3 minimum ones.
Let me dispute something on that.
Okay.
The problem with sticking to one hotel and one airline is that you're limited on how you can use the point. How you can make it better is pick one luxury card.
Yes.
Pick one,
remember, these are
pick one of the luxury cards, because what you get from that is that the points can be spread among various.
Yeah, me and you can do that, but I'm talking to Dave Ramsey people who are like trying to get back to credit cards, so I have to win them in a little bit.
And then,
but then if you sell them the option that they can actually benefit from not just one airline, but various airlines and not one hotel and various hotels. That's the thing.
and then
but there's also
credit card also comes in really well for that. And then now the three is good. So the 3 is one platinum card. Then you get a harvester like the gold or the sapphire preserved, and then you get a cashback.
now,
So instead of limiting them to one hotel and one airline, you're giving them options and getting much more benefits with very few cards.
that makes sense.
now, as we wrap up this conversation,
Now she has to come back.
yes, she has to come back. But as we wrap up,
We haven't even hit the iceberg.
Let's-
Just the tip.
let's remember on this credit card thing. Remember, it's only 1 out of 10 people who beat the system. So I think that's important for people to understand. It's only 1 out of 10 who beat the system in terms of what they're telling you get and what you actually get. It's only 1 out of 10, and that's the reason why these cards are so profitable, why they push them out to so many people.
But
And I'm not talking.
School fees.
my
Kwa cards pia kuna school fees.
Of course.
my next point for credit cards, and then we
But
can
if
wrap
you
it up.
take time and you learn from somebody, if you just take time and learn from somebody, if you ask questions, if you take time and learn, you can actually get into the card game and benefit being less school fees. Like everything else, usiende na kierere, do your research, learn, and as I said, look at your regular expenditure, then look at the card's benefits, merge those two, and you'll find the perfect card for you.
All right, Emily.
Amen. Credit cards, we were talking about just consumers using them. Credit cards are a tool. For me, for investors, they are leverage. If I'm doing a project, or if I'm looking to buy a house and I'm needing 20%, because investors have to put 20% down, you can't get, you're using investor money to buy your house. And I need 20% to go buy a property. The way you're taught is to assess where you have access to capital. And for me, having access to credit cards, not to just go splurge and spend, it's just to have those open lines of credit. Because you never know
Yeah.
when another 2008 will show up and now properties are going for pennies on the dollar. You're going to say you don't have money to go buy a house when you're sitting on $50,000 on credit cards. Now, you can't go swipe and buy a house with a credit card. Yeah, but could you not pull the equity cash, like take a cash advance? I'll pay whatever fee they're going to charge me because I know my return on the other end is going to be much higher. I'll pay 12 to make 25.
No, cash advance, you're talking about over
And
30%.
you know the funny
It
thing
doesn't
is
matter,
that,
but it's the assessing what's the cost of the interest versus what's the return. So I would not use the credit card if the interest is 30%. I'll go get a HELOC because the HELOC is 7%.
Yeah, so HELOCs make sense.
Right?
Credit cards,
But it's the availability of
Yeah.
the capital so that you know what to do with it when and if you need it.
yes, absolutely.
We never talked about
Ali-
TikTok, by the way.
Ali, you know what?
She's
One of
talking
the
about-
funny things is that most of the guys who actually do this flipping or actually who do the duplex, like getting into a duplex, buying it, refurbishing it, and then
It's all credit cards.
refinancing it by the 70% and selling it off. Most of them actually do this through credit cards. The easiest and fastest way is just get a high balance credit card, especially I think it's like
Amex.
Federal, American Express.
Maybe
and
Federal will give
there
you
are
25.
three banks that you can actually get up to 500 grand in just if you combine like three of the three cards, and most of them actually do say that they do most of the deals with credit cards.
Yeah,
By
and-
the
and I know
time
the flips
they
make you
buy
good
the
money.
property, fix it up, and they go back to refi. When they get the refi, they have enough to pay back the credit card. The credit card is still there, and it's a rinse and repeat process. Use the credit card, fix up the place, refinance it, pay the credit card, and on and on and on and on and on.
Aya. Wangare, wrap this up for us because time
She has to
wrap
come
up.
because I think she just kidogo tu amenyunyuzia
Now
tu.
Ruth is like, I haven't even talked about HELOCs, so I guess I'll have to come back and talk about HELOCs another time.
Kept asking.
You may need to see her behind the tent.
No. I know about them. I just wanted to tell
Other
other
people to
people
know.
about it.
And also,
So,
But
also
real
to read some
quick,
of the comments. But
2
carry on.
seconds, like a short brief. Okay, a HELOC stands for Home Equity Line of Credit. The same way credit cards are lines of credit, credit cards are unsecured lines of credit. They give you the money based on what your credit score is and what you tell them you make, but they don't even verify that income. They just give you the money. That's called an unsecured loan or an unsecured line of credit. A HELOC, it's a line of credit, but it's secured by the equity in your house. A lot of people do this whole, cash out refi, which starts the clock back again, which is the worst thing to do because you're giving the banks the highest interest in your money when you reset the clock and start your 30-year mortgage again, because you pay the highest interest in the beginning of the loan. So if you're 10 years, 15 years into your mortgage, I would, again, it's all going to be based on the individual. If you are better off pulling that equity out by getting a HELOC. So basically, it's a second loan on your house. Your original payments stay intact, nothing changes. But you're getting a line of credit which stays open and you only pay interest when you actually use the money. Just like a credit card. If you have a credit card that has 50K on it, if you never swipe it, you don't pay the interest. The line of credit is just having that availability of the money just in case
of anything.
an opportunity comes into place, or maybe you get laid off and now when you try to do the HELOC or refinance, you can't refinance because you have no income coming in. So it's a safety net. It's a way to protect, number one, your asset, because people who have their mortgages paid off or even carry a huge equity in their home, you could be having a party in your house. You have people there. They have 1-2 bottles of wines. One falls, decides, this was your fault because you left your mfereji ya maji hapo nje nikaanguka. And they decide to sue you. All it takes is just somebody to look up your property address and find out whether you have a mortgage on that property. If that house is paid off, or at least there's equity in that property, any lawyer will gladly take that case because they are taking you to where? To the cleaners. If you have no way of paying whatever that judgment is, if you lose that case, that is, well, you're going to be forced to sell the house. But if you have a HELOC on your home, when anybody looks up your property, they're going to see, this guy has original mortgage, but they have this other HELOC here. Now, they don't know whether you've spent that money or not, but the point is they cannot touch it because you've secured your asset by getting a HELOC and protecting that equity. So that's a HELOC.
Okay. All right. So
Thank you.
we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk more about HELOCs the next time.
I'll be back for real estate because we didn't even get to the real estate
yes,
part too. We'll get into that another time.
Yes, we didn't quite get to real estate, but Asante Sana.
And that guy who was rich and had a poor dad, what happened to him?
Robert
Rich Dad and
Kiyosaki.
Robert
Read the
Kiyosaki.
book Rich
Yeah.
Dad Poor Dad. It's a good mindset book on understanding assets and liabilities.
All right, yeah. But with that said, Asante Sana, Emily, for coming through. You finally come to Kilimanjaro Studios, and we will be glad to have you back again. A lot of nuggets of knowledge that we've learned. Some comments that came here that we were not able to read at the time because the conversation was so heated. Hapa Tabitha Njeri anasema, we are enjoying this conversation and debate. Please don't stop it.
Yeah.
And then Stephen Batty says, my regards to stocks is good. Shelter and clothing, basic human needs. You buy a stock of what you utilize, like you all agreed. Apple products, Nike, Adidas shoes, etc. And then he further says the house always wins. That's all I say about the stock market. You can never win. I think he means that you can never beat the market.
Exactly.
And then Achuna Pacho says using a trust to purchase a property is king. I think that's
We
very
didn't even get
good.
into asset protection. We didn't even
Yes.
get into any of that stuff. I'll
Yes,
be back
a-
for that.
And I think the next time we're going to focus on real estate.
yes, and asset protection.
Real estate investing and asset protection. Yeah, that's very important. And then Afro Jamaican says I did the same 20% down. I think he's talking about purchasing.
These are
his
the
home.
1%ers. These are the 1%ers.
Yeah, like school fees, tulilipa your school fees. Yeah. But another thing I have to say is that on one thing that I know, like in these financial programs that are out there, I've looked at a lot of them that are missing is halal finance. It's a whole field in its own. It's a whole field in its own. There was this one time I called Vanguard, and they emailed me and they said that there's this product they're offering because of Palinimefika, they can get me an advisor, and I personally just never, but I just wanted to find out, exactly what kind of advice they'll be giving. Are they giving, like tax advice or what? So I called and I spoke to this expert and I told him, I don't want bonds. And he was like, no, it's important to have bonds to protect your assets. And I was like, in halal financing, we don't buy bonds because bonds are not halal, and he just never had any answer for me. He was like, I don't know, that was the first time he was hearing that.
Probably.
Because he was telling me my portfolio is risky because it had 0 bonds. It just had, like a low-cost index funds, and that was it. And I was trying to explain to him. So I was trying to see what kind of advice these people. And I think the only advice, they would have given me is that, you can add 10% or 15% bonds into your portfolio. And I think that's bonds is another conversation that
short-term, long-term,
that we can have for another day. But I can tell you the bond market, like the last 20 years is negative. And that's
where have interest rates been?
I do have reasons. I do
below
The dungeon.
yeah, but if you put up, if you have an investment products for 20 years that's giving you a negative return, then that's there's that total bond market. If you go, you can go and look at
what
it.
I'll say to end the show. If
Yeah.
your money that you have out there, if it's not working enough to at least beat inflation, you're doing something wrong. Because today's money is not going to be tomorrow's money. You have to at least beat inflation. And where are we at with inflation right now? 7? What's the real number?
We're at 7%.
But what's the real number?
And with bonds, it's even worse because they're
Exactly.
going negative, meaning they're worse than cash. But that's a topic for another day.
Yep.
Afro Jamaican also says we should tell newcomers to beware of credit cards. When I came to Canada, I got an Amex, a Visa, and a MasterCard. Big mistake.
Character development.
School of Hard Knocks.
All right, na hapa Ashley Maingi anasema asanteni, Tabitha Njeri anasema thank you Emily, this was very informative.
And by the way, Tabitha, it's M Wangare, EM space Wangare. That's who she is on FB, because I think
No,
Yeah.
EM space on
FB
Linktree.
and on social
On
media
FB, but
platforms,
social
yeah,
media.
it's the same thing.
EM
But I think-
underscore. You need underscore mani dash.
Underscore.
Underscore Wangare.
yeah, but I think
Yeah.
I will like on FB because Tabitha was asking for that. But
Yeah.
okay.
I think for some reason the
media
comments
handles,
were chapping.
Inakuwa thread ni.
Yeah.
social media handles are MEM
Umeingia thread.
_, Wangare. That's social media for Instagram
And thread.
and
And
the other one.
Threads.
Thread.
Heck no.
You should.
Okay, so
I'm just adapting to TikTok, so
Social-
I'm
social
not
media.
going to this other one. No.
Okay.
But yes, all my other links about where I teach, where I'm at, I could be in a city near you coming soon, so you can always find me and you can learn some stuff. And
All right,
I'm
so
always
we are quickly going to transition into the topic of the day. And Uno Mike, please remind us, what are we talking about this
We are going
last
to
segment?
see. I think ideally this last segment, we're going to be trying to see if your man has. I think you have it better posted over there. But does your man have authority on how you dress?
Well, it's how did I have it here? The discussion is on whether men should have authority over their wives and their women or their girlfriends on the choice of clothing, and is it justified to publicly shame your woman based on a choice of dress?
Now, before we proceed, I think I'd be remiss if I don't say this. I know maybe it's coming in too late, but tomorrow, even in the DMV area, there's a big cookout that's going on. The Baltimore Jamas are holding it down. Kuna nyama choma. It's Family Fun Day.
Where?
Gunpowder Park.
Oh.
And also, and I think I'd sent this out there. The Kenyan Embassy will be there.
Okay.
They'll be doing a drive. Just come in with your details. Just go to the website, Kenyan Embassy, and find out what the requirements are to either get your ID, your passport. Just come. They're going to be there, Gunpowder Park. I'm going to post the flyer somewhere. I'm going to send it to somebody who can post it over there. People who are technology inclined. Psych. Gunpowder Park. Actually, let me read the address if they have it over here. It's going to be 72 Graces Quarters Road, Gunpowder Falls State Park, Middle River, Maryland 21220. Gunpowder Falls.
Who's
Baltimore.
organizing it?
Baltimore. Kenyan Jamas.
Kenyan men.
Kenyan men in Baltimore.
Kenyan men.
now
Hey,
they
you
can
ever
tell us how we can dress when we come to the
Kenyan
barbecue,
men.
but that's about it.
Yeah,
Aduria Baltimore.
Kina one mic.
I
good
love
food.
that.
We organize
Now,
it. So
there you can tell us what attire to wear because you're the one who's hosting it. Other than that,
it's a family fun day. So just come and hang out. Just don't come skimpily dressed.
Eh?
That's all I'm
Yeah,
saying.
because
Just
it's
show
your
your
function, you can tell us what to wear.
Aya.
Kuna
Thank you.
watoto, kuna
Aya.
nini. So come through. There are many. They're
So
gonna be. They're
they
gonna be
can't
very
come in
many
those
vendors. Banks. Family Bank is in town. They'll have. If you want to open a dollar account or whatever, go over there. See what products that they have.
Diaspora banking, is that what they call it?
It's diaspora banking.
Yeah,
Ideally.
how, okay.
Family Bank. There's going to be some people selling maguta broti. They're there. They're gonna be some companies looking to hire people.
I'm not gonna jam a Bitcoin.
I mean, you can be the Bitcoin guy.
You can be the Bitcoin guy, Mika.
You can be the Bitcoin guy. So some other local businesses that are gonna be there come out and support. Again, if you want diaspora banking, you want to open a dollar account, just come over there. I don't think there's anyone who offers that. Or
And
is
then
even
there's an
even
after
in
party
town.
even.
So,
Oh, sorry.
thank you.
Your after party in
Where?
private.
Where?
Ama.
Ni Ohangla na Mogezi.
Oh, that one, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, kuna
Imagine.
DJ Boni hapo, ako Freed, Mohangla, Mugithi combination.
I am just
So-
waiting to see Boni play Ohangla and
I need-
Mogezi.
That will be funny. So, I mean, ideally, that's it. So, again, if you're in the DMV, by the time of this recording, it's going to be out. But if you're replaying it, Saturday, July 8th, 7200.
Meaning tomorrow.
Tomorrow, Gunpowder Parks Falls.
Usingoje kusimuliwa.
Usingoje kusimulia. Otherwise, nyama choma itaenda motura. By the way, these guys have gone. They got they slaughtered 12 goats.
12.
Kuna ng'ombe mzee
wait.
imechinjwa.
12.
They're 12.
12
God
goats.
damn.
Kuna ng'ombe imechinjwa.
Where?
Then kuna zile za box, lakini kuna meturena yatengenezwa. Right now the wazes are prepping as we speak.
Kuna farmer's choice sausages
I
for the
don't know
cool
about
for the
that.
cool kids.
Maybe the cool kids.
For the
Maybe
cool kids.
maybe
And
zilete.
those farmers' choice guys are not coming.
They're not coming. So
okay.
ideally, habari ndio hiyo. And please, which is a proper segue. Wacha na booty shots. Sikuja nazo.
You know,
when
guys
your
talk about
function,
dressing.
therefore, I will respect what you ask me to wear in your function.
You know, as we get into the
So,
topic of
yes,
dressing,
thank you kindly.
as we get into the topic of dressing,
But now when I go to see Asha,
but as we get into the topic of dressing, you know, you guys haven't realized, you know, like Mjanuliza kwanza sisi Waislamu, how we view this, because you know, us guys, we are on
The
another level.
conservative level.
Okay.
It's not conservative. It's just a different level on this issue.
Okay,
Are
so
you gonna say
But
something?
unajua sahi summertime ukavaa kanzu ni the most comfortable dress thing unaweza toa.
Kanzu iko sawa. Kanzu iko sawa kabisa. You as cool as a cucumber.
Na hii
But-
joto.
So hiyo nini ya gunpowder weze enda na dira alafu hakuna kamisi.
unauliza maswali aina gani wewe?
See, I'm just asking because unajua kuna if I invite somebody hiyo family cookout na wako na dira.
Why don't you do this?
Umetumia term moja yenye watu wa siku hizi Gen Z understand.
Why don't you do this?
Oh, sorry.
Wacha Mika atupatie background.
Ni-
Wewe
niseme-
quickly Mika.
Slip ama petticoat.
Tafadhali.
Background ya nini?
Ya hiyo story ya Kikipama. In 1-2 seconds.
Oh, Ruth ndo alikuwa mpoa. Anyway, I think
Ruth ame Malaysia. Amejiuzulu.
Ruth call out early. Call out early today.
Okay, so earlier this week, there was a video online that showed Kiki Palmer attending Asha's concert. Kiki Palmer, by her own confession, said that she's a big Asha fan, and she was looking towards going towards the concert. And the dress that she had dressed on was a see-through, but inside she had something like let's say like a corset, or the one that covers the boobs, and it's one.
Yeah, it was
It
mesh.
covers both. Yeah. And she looked good. She actually looked good in it. And so the video showed Asha walking up towards her and Kiki being fun-struck. She woke up and was screaming. And then Asha came and gave her a hug and serenaded her for a few seconds. Didn't even go to a minute. But Asha being a man, pia couldn't the angle of the video showing and alikuwa naangalia and I appreciate the view. Now, a few minutes later in the night, Kiki Palmer's baby's father tweeted a tweet, and she was saying it's something about the modern man. Is it so hard for a man to ask his wife to just cover up and not show up in public dressed up like that? Like you just want a mother to do. And so he mentioned something about her being a mother. She should not be dressed up like that in public. And then he kept on saying about insisting it was about the dress. So people came out in defense of Kiki Palmer, like, wait, yo, she just had a baby and she got her body back looking good. She's enjoying herself. She's looking good. There was really nothing but like, are you insecure or something? So it was a big back and forth on the internet. There were those who were looking at it from the baby father's point, but majority of people are looking at it in defending Kiki Palmer in her dressing. It's a choice. She lives with you. Did you see her leaving the house? So the issue that comes out now is that bringing it back to us as a society, should we have, what do you think? Should the husband have a say on how their wife dresses outside? Some people are saying that she disrespected the relationship by dressing like that and going outside and letting another man swoon over her in public like that. She should have not done that in public. And others are saying that he disrespected their relationship by castigating her in public about her dressing. That's the big question right now.
Ali,
Yes.
now, with that background in hand, and thank you for bringing this up, let us get a perspective from the Islamic side, the perspective of a Muslim.
Now, one of the differences between, like the Islamic faith, and that's why sometimes people look at us with a side eye, is that we do not question what the Quran tells us. We don't question it. We follow it on whatever issue it is. If it's stories are LGBTQ, if it's dressing, if it's we don't question. This is what has been said, na tumeikubali. So the benefit of that is that whenever there is an issue, and maybe Mrs. Mjuku yuko huko labda ameva njia fulani. When we have that discussion, I'm not telling her ni Ali ndo amesema ama ni maoni yangu. Tunamwambia hivi ndivyo Mwenyezi Mungu amesema, hivi ndo Rasul amesema, and we typically, like, if you have, you know, like a good Islamic background, there's usually no disagreements on that.
Rasul is
The Prophet.
okay.
Yeah, this is what he said. This is how he said. But you know, like women should dress. There's generally no disagreement on that. So that takes away the concept that wewe unanionea ama wewe una. So it takes that out. So mimi hata nikiingia hapo kwa hiyo argument, mimi sikuji na maoni ya Ali ako na maoni ya vitu vingi. Unakuja tu unamkumbusha aya, unamkumbusha hadithi ya Rasul na mnamalizana. Hata kama akiamua, you know, like ndakiuka mipaka na nitenda kama nimevaa hivi, atakuwa ametoka na ameenda kwa kukiuka sheria za Mwenyezi Mungu. So that's just how we operate, and I think it works very well for us. You know, like nikifika point pia mimi, you know, like I don't drink, but nimeamua nimeanza kuwa stress, so I want to start drinking. You know, yeye hatakuja kuniambia ati you know, ini tabia mbaya umeanza. Atanikumbusha tu Mwenyezi Mungu katika sura fulani, aya fulani alisema hivi. So you see, I will not have a comeback, because it's not based on how she feels, or it's not based on her opinion. And this has worked really well for us.
Haya, Emily. Sorry, Mika, go ahead.
So I don't want to do this, but then
go for it. Kwani unaogopa nini?
I will do, no. I don't want to do this because I understand what I'm saying. Basically, I don't want to feel like I'm doubting religion, but this is an issue that is currently in the world right now.
Yes,
and I think Ali will offer perspective that can help. So in a few weeks we're going to have the Women's World Cup, Soccer World Cup, right? We have one of the best emerging teams in Iran who are going to play. Now the thing is, Iran wanaambiwa wajifunike, wabaki tu na kaspace kwa uso, wavae wacheze na tracksuit na kila kitu, which is going to be a disadvantage to them. So other teams, even the other teams, are protesting for them. Like, why can't you just let them play? They're women. We're all women. We're also wearing like this. Like, hakuna kitu baya. Wanaweza jifunika, like, if they want to, but don't force them, right? Because they understand that the other women don't want to win from a disadvantage, because kucheza na tracksuit na kucheza na shorts is totally different. One is restrictive, the other is not restrictive. So how do we get over such issues, Ali? Hata tukienda swimming, unaonanga Muslim swimmers, costume zao ukuwa a bit more, it slows them down. I want to streamline kwa sababu ya vile head yenyu anaambiwa wavae nini, it doesn't align to the contours of the body. So how do we get over such emphasis sasa without saying to make you a religion?
Now that's a very interesting question you bring up. I you know, like, I know swimming, for example, a lot of people, even who are not Muslims, have started adopting those full bodysuit swimwear, you know, which is something that I've seen. I mean, I don't know why that happened at some point, but they've also started adopting the way, you know, like, but you see, for example, like the way, for example, women, you know, like dress, the swimwear they dress when they swim. And this is not an issue in all Muslim countries, and not saying that all Muslims follow, you know, like what Islam says, because you'll find there's other Muslim countries where this is an issue, and you'll find there's others where it's not an issue. Iyo ya Iran on the women's soccer team sijaifuatilia vizuri, but I would like to see, you know, like what clothes they're being asked to wear, whether those clothes are giving them a disadvantage. I know, you know, Nike, for example, iliingia katika hii business ya kutengeza headgear za wanawake who want to wear hijab while they're doing. So there's something that Nike has actually made that's working. You know, as far as ball is concerned, I really don't know. But here's one thing that I want to add on to that. You know, like even taking out religion off the picture. Take, for example, beach volleyball. The way the women, you know, like dress in beach volleyball, does that dressing,
Bikini.
do those bikinis give them an advantage? Because they don't dress, you know, because men don't dress like that when they're playing beach volleyball. So the women, is that dressing, is it based on that's what gives them the best posture advantage, or is there another reason why they're being made to dress like that in beach volleyball? Because wanaume wavai hivyo when it comes to beach volleyball. So ni kitu tu sometimes miwa niko curious about. Sometimes these clothing choices and that's what I'm asking. Are these clothing choices based on the fact that this is what gives them the best advantage in what they're doing?
Ali hapa tumehaija topic ya uno turudi kwa
Please, wacha niyo.
Yeah, ni too serious.
Yeah, it's too serious. It's back to Kiki.
Turudi kwa vitu za Kiki.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because so now, you know, with so what he posted, so that's why I was asking Ruth, but she ran away. And now I'm waiting for this one for Miss. Actually, no, I haven't heard her opinion. Please, Ebu share.
You heard it pre-production.
No, pre-production. Now, can we do it now in real time production?
Listen.
Yes.
Opinions are like belly buttons. Everybody has one. Yes.
No, some people don't have belly buttons.
Some people don't.
I can say the other words too, but I'm not gonna. I'm
Okay,
cleaning it up.
sour.
Yes.
Okay.
Sphincter muscle.
So you know, there's obviously. Okay, I'm gonna talk about Kiki from the perspective of where she is right now. Right, she just gave birth to this child. Women, we're probably the most critical of ourselves, of our bodies, just naturally, right? Because of, again, these images that we're told, oh, you gotta look like this, you gotta be a size 2, we criticize ourselves and our bodies the most. We don't need any outside stuff to tell us how we feel about our bodies, right? This woman just had a baby. She's going out with her girlfriends. They're in Vegas. It's Asha. Who knows what struggles, like all these things that she's been going through. And that was the day she was just feeling ameamuka. She's just like, like I'm feeling good. Today I'm gonna be out there. She chose whatever outfit she chose to wear. Whether the boyfriend, fiance, whatever he is, had agreed or they had talked about it before, whatever. That's whatever happens behind closed doors. Because we don't know. Maybe they go buy clothes together. Who knows, right? Maybe he even helped her pack the outfits. I don't know. Like, we don't know what happened behind closed doors. Because there are some, couples who like to dress alike. They like to go shopping together. Like, we don't know what happens behind closed doors. I think the issue is, however he felt, maybe it was the video, maybe it was Asha, maybe it's because it was Asha that was now, there rubbing up on her. Maybe if it was just a picture of her alone with her girlfriends in a group picture, that may not have been an issue. I think it's now that added layer of what she was doing, what she was wearing, what she was doing, and who she was doing it with.
And he singled her out.
Right? So him, putting it out there, that's out of pocket. Ngojea afike nyumbani muongei mambo and deal with it behind closed doors. We don't need to see all of that stuff. So me, I'm all that. Whether he approved of it or not, it doesn't really matter to us. Just go handle that stuff at home.
Omosh.
But
sorry.
Can a man? The whole point was, can a man tell a woman what she can wear or not wear?
A wife.
She's not his wife.
Oh yeah, she's not his. Okay, yeah.
Or partner.
Point.
But they're together.
Or partner.
Right now. Let's
or
not,
girlfriend.
Let's not reduce.
Okay, let's say girlfriend.
Let's not reduce that relationship.
Can a boy tell his girlfriend?
Because they're not married.
It's whatever you guys agree upon behind your closed doors.
So whether wife or not, like Mika is saying, I think it doesn't matter. You guys are partners.
Yeah, you're a pair.
You're a pair. Whatever it is, whether you're married, can we stay? It doesn't matter, right? So, like Mika is saying, let's not diminish that fact. Let us not diminish the fact that just because maybe she didn't have a ring. Because some of these, like now with what Nani was saying, Ruth, she was saying that, Taraji P. Hanson did this. I was like, my question to her was, is Taraji P single? She was like, yes, okay. So that does, if Kiki was single,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. But Kiki here, you can say that the Jama posted something.
Yeah.
If Taraji P did that and the Jama posted, then they're two peas in a pod. But now, this one, Taraji P is single. So let us leave the single one out. Let us
So
put
the
here.
question is-
So let us focus here on whether if you're a partner. If I can say I have a man. If somebody comes to, if somebody was to come to Kiki and say you have a man, what
she
will her
says
answer
yes.
be? Yes. If Mama comes
She
to
got
this
a baby
Jama,
daddy.
do you have a mama? Like, yes. That is it. Now, moving forward, does this guy have the right to say, "Wait, tafadhali, you can't wear that"?
This is the thing. This was the thing for me.
And
As in, I'm not saying this was happening. This is how I look at it. I usually see, based on experience, when things come out in public, it means that the fights in private have
That
become
fire was started
so
before she
common
got
to
on
a
that
point
plane.
whereby they're no longer exciting, right? And the man might be right. He's mad about the dressing. They might have argued about the dressing, and she went out with it. And she saw that, and he felt that the fact that she went with it, it was disrespectful. And she figured out, since you're in public, let me criticize you in public as a way. As in, when things get toxic, you never think. You do stupid things. You argue about stupid things, right? So the fact that he was feeling that this is the mother of my daughter, I don't want the mother of the mother of my kid. I don't want the mother of my kid walking out of the house like this. We're together. She's my woman. She's mine. And probably felt that there's been a defiance on him, and that is why he said what he said. And then after that, we also saw Kiki posting some subliminals, saying, "I wish she took more pictures, blah blah blah. She would have posted more and stuff." Like it continued even after that, which shows that the two of them, there's some aggression, there's some passive aggression that was going on between the two of them. Us as spectators now are left fighting a battle here of this guy disrespected her, and she's just celebrating herself, blah, blah, blah. And then we have also these other people who are fighting this battle of she disrespected him by coming out like this. And we're in between fighting a fight that's two people who should have taken care of it. In my opinion, I believe, based on answering on Mike's question, couples can tell each other if how you're dressing, talking, doing things is making them uncomfortable. It is within your right. You're in a relationship. You're supposed to be able to be comfortable with your person. If you cannot feel comfortable, if you cannot feel comfortable to tell your partner, if you do this and this, it's going to hurt me, it's making me feel some type of way, then are you really in a relationship that you're supposed to be in? Because it means there's no clear communication. Like, you can't have your weights. Like one of you is walking over the other one. So yes, to answer your question, Mike, you can have your say, and if that's your person, they can listen to you or they can choose not to listen to you. It's a choice. But couples have the right to tell the other one that whatever you're doing doesn't sit well with me. I would prefer you to do this instead of this.
Keyword communication, and it's how you say it. The way he did it was out of pocket.
Yeah, that publishing.
Now that's one. That
you're
publishing.
That's that becomes whatever you did.
It negates everything. It
For me
negates your
personally,
point.
hata kama nimefanya kitu wrong, and then my partner goes and publishes it, me hapo hata nafura kichwa. Whatever I did, it stops mattering, because you did something. You could have, I mean, even if they're in different cities, they have each other's numbers. Could have texted.
That
I'm
was
pretty
called
sure
in a
they
text message.
spoke on FaceTime before she left.
Maybe she
Or
had
they
blocked
talked
him
before she left.
during the
And
conference.
that's why for me, that's why I feel this aggro didn't just start from that. I
No.
think this was a conversation that was had
And-
earlier.
Yeah.
There was an argument, and it spilled out
Into social media.
kwa internet, and kukuja kwa social media, and a fun night out was turned into a public display of clownism, like
And
for
or
the whole world
maybe
to
it's
see.
actually happening the way it was supposed to happen for clicks and likes and baits. Don't forget, these are celebrities marketing. Who knows?
That
what
that, that,
all
that,
yeah.
that, that
Exactly,
possibly
right?
could be true, but I think the other issue that I think people are overlooking here is this thing of sometimes trying to live a relationship in public. I think that's one of the most difficult things. And I know, you know, like there are some people who like doing that. They like showing, and I don't follow them, so I don't know whether they're those lovey couples who, you know, like post pictures of, oh, we're in the backyard, you know, like doing this, or oh, we are going to the mall together. I don't
Yeah,
know that
I
they're
don't
that
know.
kind of couple, but I think we're just coming, you know, like, because social media is still, in the longer scheme of things, is still fairly new in terms of couples, relationships, and everything. And these couples that constantly publish themselves, I think it becomes more difficult to deal with personal issues, because the whole world, you know, for example, like if the whole world is used to seeing you posting pictures together, when you stop, it's a problem.
Wanajua, they know.
No, it's a problem.
Wameachana hawa.
Online in-laws. Online in-laws, you know,
Yes.
they've been vested from the beginning. They are wondering, you know, like, how come, you know, like, we want to know what's going on. We've been vested from the beginning, so what's happening here? But in as far as a couple and telling each other how to dress, I think it really depends on the agreement that you have between the two of you. To me, when it comes to couples, it's whatever you've agreed between the two of you, because every couple is different.
Now, I wanted to say something, maybe to counter her point.
Kabisa.
I think it is okay. I understand. Okay, not I understand, but okay, you give an example of, you know, maybe she's just given birth, this postpartum or whatever, and she wants to feel good, she wants to do everything, yada yada yada. If the most, for me, I think the most important support, the most, would be in what Omosh said, the baby daddy, or the father of your child. That is where the first most important positive reinforcement
Exactly.
support comes from.
Yeah.
I don't see why you need validation out there. Mimi hapa nimekupatia validation, but
Labda
it's like,
itatosha.
and that's the problem. So what thereof is there lacking that me, fine, through your 9 months, Bengine, this was one of those pregnancies where you are seeing me and you are seeing me as the demon, you know, you know, anything that I wear perfume wise or whatever, hautaki kuiona. So now your saving grace probably is Omosh. Omosh is the one who has probably been my wingman, right? And through that journey and everything. So then now here comes, because shit happens, hormones imbalance. Ni mambo mob. She can attest
Yes.
to that. But mtoi amekuja. I don't even know how old the toy is. Months. But after that, this, you know, they're like, okay, the most again, the at that particular time, once the baby comes, the most crucial support is the person who probably
Is the
you've been-
baby's dad.
is the guy you've been
One who
showing
planted
dust.
the seed.
Yeah.
Exactly, the one who
The seed planter, the farmer.
nakapalilia
The farmer.
osio.
Yeah.
Most important, most significant support system. Maybe you might not see it, but that then there becomes a problem, because if you're going to seek validation out there, yet the most important validation is here, hapa kwa hii nyumba, then there's a problem.
But are we assuming that she was dressing like that because she wanted to seek
The thing
validation
is,
out
no,
there?
listen,
Yeah, that's a
listen,
good question, because
we again,
And even
I'm basing that on
and
what
my
she stated,
response.
on her
Yes.
response.
And even assuming that's true, even assuming that she was actually going out to seek validation, the way I look at it, I mean, people are not perfect.
Agreed.
These guys are very young. How old is Kiki Palmer?
Maybe
you know,
like early 30s, maybe, I don't know.
no
she hasn't
way.
hit 30.
No
She's
way,
still in her
no
20s.
way, no way, 30.
Hapo ni katoi.
No, I think maybe
No,
even
but I don't know.
she might be under 25.
No.
She might be under
she's
25.
no, no.
Yeah.
She's
older
Maybe
than
someone
25.
check her age. I think they're very young, and I think at that age.
she's 29.
Oh God
Okay, so
damn.
30s.
Okay, yeah. So she's almost 30. But I think, you know,
Imeenda.
I think.
Okay, and there's another valid point.
I think for some people, your validation is semi-kobaya. For certain individuals, your validation ya baby daddy ama ya the seed plant ama ya the farmer haitoshi.
then there's a problem.
No,
There's a problem.
You can call it a problem.
It is a problem.
But they maybe there's that validation they want beyond.
There's a problem.
Okay, like you said, I don't follow them, so I don't know.
Ngoja niambie kitu. Unajua nini? We are so quick to push for the validation and manini. Let's take a step back. What she was wearing is what's trendy right now. She's not the first woman to wear this kind of dressing this year on a big event. So it's something that's quite trendy right now, right? Another thing, she was in Vegas. She was outside, right?
Outside.
The outside.
The outside.
She was outside with her friends and Nini. She at the end of the day, there's that feeling when you look good, you know you look good, you feel sexy, you do like
Girl,
there's that feeling that comes out. Hata kama ni validation ya nje, haiwezi kupata kutoka kwako. Unajua nini? When your wife, the thing is this, the most important validation usually comes from your partner. When your partner tells you you're beautiful from nowhere, una feeling better than mtu mwingine, right?
Exactly.
It's better.
Pia ngoja kwanza, ukikuwa nje huko kwa street, mtu tu stranger kwambia you look good, do you feel good? Hautafeel vile bibi yako kwambia, but kuna kale ka dopamine ko kuchapa. Right?
So hivi miko nasema ukipita
ameenda kuona mtu mwenye ana like a musician that she likes very much. She's like yani fan mkubwa wa Asha, right? She's going for that event. She's like she was in a party mood. She was in that mood today. So let's not push to the fact that hata mi point yenye watu wanataka oh she's just given birth, postpartum. No, she was just decided to feel herself. Like she was alikuwa anaenda kujienjoy. She was feeling herself. She was enjoying herself. She knew she looked good. She knew that the body she has right now after becoming a mom is banging. She was out there just to enjoy herself. This was, I would say again, it was just an argument between two people which spilled over ikenda kwa internet. And we are trying so much to look for excuses to explain a fight we don't know.
Aya, Mika meongea. Let me say my point before you chime in. It's very simple. It is very simple. The way let's say hypothetical, because now it's just hypothetical, but like Mika said, we don't know. Sindio, we don't know for sure. But me hypothetically, nimesema no, I don't think that is approved. Lakini wewe because una feel dopamine imekuhit, unaenda huko na uko Vegas. Kaa huko Vegas na huyo Asha wako hivyo kaa huko. Habari ndio hiyo.
I say what I say.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, again, you know, wadoila najifunika ni sawa, lakini wewe kaa huko Vegas, you stay there in Vegas. You are wanted to feel good and care and what, where kaa huko.
I mean, I think here the other thing. I think here the other thing is we're looking at a situation. I think the guy was out of pocket publishing that.
100%.
But out of pocket.
But I think also is as a man, I think he felt some type of way, you know, like seeing his woman, you know, like in public,
being sexualized,
grinding on or whatever they were doing with Asha, you know. So I think he felt some type of way, and I think he should have addressed that privately. I really think that was the main issue. I don't think the issue was the dress. I think if Kiki Palmer doesn't go, you know, like on stage with Asha, but she just takes pictures with the dress with her girlfriends.
That's what I said. He would not have an issue with it.
I think that would not be an issue.
Even if he was there, maybe if he was there.
I think the issue was kwenda huko na Asha, you know, which I think
yeah, if this guy had done the same thing, worn those commercial shirts at anaonyesha kila kitu whatever, alafu Janet Jackson huko nini,
Kiki is not posting and saying you're a father.
Sijui what you're a father.
Kiki is not posting saying you're a father.
It would probably even be worse. Na huko ataanza ma subliminals. Ama dem tunawajua. Wanaanza kuchapa ma subliminals huko social media. Okay. Unajiacha hapo unastuka. Na but mbona
the difference between us and you, that would not have been a social. I would be on the next plane coming to see what you're doing with Janet, but I would not shame you publicly. Okay, there's a big difference.
These women of today,
I'll be on the flight.
These young girls of today, they are quick to Facebook and TikTok and Threads. Mika,
No, but Emma said something. Amesema kitu kweli. Hata kuembarrass on Facebook,
Nope.
but ama social media bado
We'll deal
atakukujia.
with it,
Lakini
lakini
pia
si kwa
unajua sasa ile
Facebook.
Musa sema vitu moja, amjuangi asiri ya mapenzi. Asiri ya mapenzi can make you do something stupid at that particular moment.
Exactly.
Especially if, let's say, ulikuwa tu umekaa una
And
scroll
who
social
knows?
media, unaona mtu wako amerombosa hapo mbele ya watu. Sasa tukiwa
Maybe hao wanapenda ile toxic love. Fight publicly so that when you go home you make up in different ways. You never know what happened behind closed doors. Leave people alone.
Yeah, I
Mind
know.
your business.
But
I
I think Ruth was here before she left. But I think she said something, and I think we are all in agreement. I think, just like you said, like if you're a practicing Muslim, you already know what is required of you. Having read, the ayahs, and you've read the Quran, you already know what is expected of you as a man, as a woman. When you meet, and I think you did mention that, communication is very important. Because I think when people get and they meet together, they're trying to get to know one another, they're trying to get to size one another. They're actually bringing out the best person forward. So in other words, they're not saying what they lack, but they're going to put the best foot
they're
forward.
seeing Ali best.
Like now, like now, when you're talking about how some of these guys have done, like either when you ask for their data for 5 years,
Yeah.
chances are they're just gonna give you what has worked,
Yes.
not the losses that they've had or the
Yes. Traders.
gone
Only
through.
traders.
Those ones.
Traders. They'll only give you the winning positions.
So now here,
Yeah.
even in relationships,
Yeah.
what
Yeah,
guys
you're only
do,
gonna bring your best.
you're gonna bring your best. So
Yeah.
like if you ever, if you know, let's say if you're a smoker, or if you don't like somebody
Or
who
if you
smokes,
snow.
Yeah.
if you don't like somebody who smokes, but unanaum say ama udem, hapa I can vumilia, lakini once I'm inside, kama when I'm inside, I'll try and change.
Yeah.
That doesn't work.
That shit don't work.
Right? So over here, probably, again, there's that communication, meaning, listen, me, I like a certain dress. I don't like this. Me, I don't like somebody who wears fishnets, or I don't like somebody who wears booty shorts, the butt cheeks hanging. You have to dress classy. Those are your stipulations as, if you're a whatever. Meaning, Mika, hold on. Let me finish my thought.
Question.
Before I lose my thought, listen. Say me end. Ask your question. My thought is gone.
My question was on your thought. Most of the time, they kutememba butt chicks hanging. Wanga ni kitu ana discover later, ama inakwanga ni kitu akonayo na dichalia memkatia kama anavaa hivyo alafu anajaribu kumchange.
Now here's a quick answer, Mika. There are some who have been like that, but there are some who started later. And
Yes.
and you know how I know this, that there's some who started later, is because there are some who are not doing it, not because they did not want to, but they're not doing it maybe because of an insecurity they have, they don't want to show. But in this day and age, when unaweza kwenda Turkey ama Miami, body yako itajengwa. So yes, so where you see there are people who were not dressing in a particular way, but after the procedure amepata confidence, and maybe at that time yuko 37 ama yuko 42.
Yeah, man.
Anaanza that
Ndio
point.
acha niwaambie.
So that happens inaweza kuanza at some point.
So again, or before, no, I think at some point when you already establish certain parameters of who you are moving forward, uwezi kasema ati, you go and you fumble, then you're like, hey, but I thought I'm like, no. Si umeenda ukarombosiwa huko na you knew very well me, I don't like you to be romboswa, and probably you even knew me, I don't like that guy, lakini ukaenda kukuonyesha madharau kaa huko Vegas
Na alafu akaenda backstage labda.
ta imagine kaa huko usipande hiyo ndege.
VIP.
Kwa fupi, do not change.
Take me.
Whoever you are, ulinikuta hivi. If I find somebody walking on the streets wearing those butt cheeks, usijaribu. There's a friend of mine who said some are for streaming, kuna wele wa kudownload. Kani kustream, we stream. Kani kudownload, we download. Unajua
Ono mimi kiko na six pack nisitoe shati.
wewe, like a boss to a
Inategemea
friend.
ule demo
Dad
uko
bod.
nayo.
Yeah,
Well,
if you have a dad, maybe now you have a dad bod. Yeah, we want to see the abs.
Endelea.
But that's what I'm saying, like maybe you had a dad bod and
Alafu
then
ukaenda
ukaingia
gym.
gym,
Yeah.
umepata six pack, then all of a sudden you like wearing these small t-shirts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Do you?
All of a sudden you like wearing then you're not wearing.
umekata weight.
I think but I
don't
think
have to
your
show.
change, I think your change in behavior, and unajua pia siku hizi men have their own procedures too.
Pia nyinyi kuna BBL zenyu.
You know,
Na ma-
kuna some
hair,
men who go get hair
treatments.
transplants
Yes.
na
True
nini.
that.
You know, mtu alikuwa
Wanaongeza
anavaa kofia,
urefu.
mtu alikuwa anavaa kofia permanently, but all of a sudden
amekuwa LeBron ako na nywele.
Amekata dread.
yeah so again
Really?
yeah
Ah.
so again it's the same thing,
We talk
and
sports.
Omosh is really trying to play it safe on this topic. Hebu toa maoni yako, because Omosh has been trying to play it
He
safe.
has not said anything.
He's been
Mom's
trying,
the
yeah, he's been trying to get skipped. You know, anasema ntanyamaza.
Because I'm wondering, probably, maybe he doesn't think there's value in this discussion.
Inquiring.
No,
Exactly.
no. That's not it. Mpaka ukaeka spotlight kwangu.
Aone hata Omosh mpaka pia yeye alikuwa na nywele tu, and then all of a sudden in his advanced age
Akaka dread.
akaweka dread.
There you go.
Akasuka.
Show them dreads.
Hiyo ni COVID.
Rastaman.
Hiyo ni COVID.
COVID.
Na zangu si transplants, which by the way,
No, by the
by the way,
yeah.
chaps get transplants.
Chaps get
Hakuweka dread, but carry on.
So
It's like he's the only one who was affected by COVID, but carry on.
no, there are chaps. I know very many chaps who are affected by COVID, and they came from bald to having longer than mine, and it was within a shorter time.
Rastaman live up.
Yani they were bold and then wakakuwa marastaman.
Let's say they were getting fixed.
You don't have it dread.
They were getting
Rasta.
fixed. Unaona vile nywele yako iko. In another 2 months we see you na uko na dread inafika mgongo. You seen a transplant. But anyway, I digress. So
Fabio Bonocco.
unajua nikai topic yenyu mumeenda round in circles, because it was the simple question was, should a man, or should I say who the male who is should the male figure in the relationship have say over how the female wears or dresses, right? Because you had said married, but clearly, yeah. I think in any relationship, this thing is it's mutual. The parties have to agree. Whichever way you want to look at it, whether you bring in religion like Ali has, or whether you're with somebody who is not religious or whatever, you both have to agree. Because kuna vitu zingine hata wewe unaweza vaa kama jamaa, dema na kuangalia hivi asema azi. Yes, man.
Na mwanaume ng'ara yako yote.
Kabisa.
Yes. And you might be wearing an orange shirt with
Blue shorts.
yellow pants.
Hey, by the way.
You know, and then
kitambi kaine ya mine.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Or umeva laji ya Kenya na unajua wewe ni waga ni msewa 2XL huku.
Double XL.
Lakini because shati imetoka Kenya ni lazima uvae hiyo shati.
Yeah.
And you have the kapot of
You paid for it.
You have an internal one.
you-
You have an internal six pack.
uko na pot ya wababas.
You have an internal six
Right?
pack.
The mama look at it and say, no, boss. If it's maybe it's here in the hao, yeah. Lakini uko inje, this one I don't.
Hii imekataa.
Yeah.
Hii
this
haiwezi.
one, no. It's just not going to work.
IOS make.
Yeah, even if it's a home 254 shirt, no, IS make. That's why I don't wear them anyway. But yeah, so
Kuna story hapo.
yeah, you're the story again for another day. But the bottom line of it is there has to be mutual agreement. Now, whether it's, then now, of course, you're going into the public, blah, blah, blah. And as partners, clearly, you don't want your partner to go out there and not shame you, but shame themselves, so to speak.
Misrepresent you.
Yeah. No, it's not even about you. At some point, it's also about them.
Them.
Juu unasikia ujamaa aliwika, she's a mom. So kwake ashaanza kufikiria mtoi atafikiria aje akiona hii
Akiona hizi in future.
Unaona? But you see the answer that she came out with was uliniona nikitoka, and you complimented. But maybe the way he saw her akitoka and the way he saw her
on the internet,
the way he saw her when she was singled out, approached and wooed
Was two different things.
by
yes,
Usher.
pengine alikuwaga na unajua
alikuwa na kale kanini
unajua mademu waga rap
Unaona-
waga naitwa rap
Na unajua
pengine
mama-
alikuwaga na rap
wana mademu kuanga na
Yeah.
clothes extra kwa bag kwa gari.
Where?
no alikuwaga na rap unajua ile kuna
Mind
ile
your
rap ya
business.
kukava
How do you
What's in
know
my
this
trunk is
uno?
in my trunk.
Ade.
How do you
Unajua
know
kuna-
this uno?
What's in my trunk is in my
Ulikuwa na
trunk.
hiyo rap
kuna ile rap waga ya kukava bikini alafu msee dem akifika maji rap all of a sudden is thrown off
Weh.
then you're like ala you mean hii bikini yako ilikuwa inaenda
ilikuwa
it was a two piece and
Yeah.
then in the bottom piece has one string behind the matako
ama mchama moja handsome number 1 akipita
yes
kanatolewa.
yes all of a sudden yes all of a sudden uno six pack has enticed the mama to remove the rap. So that could be part of what was going on in this particular case, right? Because we're using this case as a
case study.
A case study.
A case
Sindio?
study.
But overall, there has to be mutual agreement.
Yes.
And whether people say it or not, and whether couples vocalize it or not, you know what your partner likes and you know what your partner does not like. Juu nyinyi ndio munakaa pamoja.
Yeah.
Munatoka hao pamoja. You people know each other inside out. Kuna vitu zingine najua mimi siwezi vaa whether I like it or not. Just like I was saying with the combination of the colors and how you do whatever, nika tunaenda, tukienda fet. Kuna vile si waka tunajivaa bana. Uwezi enda tu fwa.
Yeah. You can't just go with the Tusker t-shirt.
No. You can't do
Yeah.
that
Timberland.
ile.
And Timberlands.
No. Uwezi fanya ile BMO starter pack.
Yeah.
You can't.
Tusker t-shirt.
It's not.
pack.
It is. There's a standard BMO starter pack.
Tusker t-shirt, cargo pants,
Watu wa BMO
na Timberlands.
wanajua. Just look to your left and then look down and then you analyze. Then you'll get where I'm coming from. But
And then Naruto kofia. But those fell out of fashion.
there's some things you
Are they
can't.
gonna be
Really
here
cargo
tomorrow?
tops.
I'll see from
So-
Watakuwa kwa deep.
In conclusion, with every couple, you have to find the middle ground. And for us over here, or at least from my perspective, I think there was more to this story than meets the eye. And this thing coming out or saying it out in the public, the way it was said, was the way of pushing the point home. And he got her attention. If that was what he meant to do,
Oh, yes.
he definitely
Oh,
got
she
her
definitely did, labda alikuwa shiki simu.
And
Hao walikuwa na ngori yao tu wengine wakakuja kumalizania kwa internet.
But then unajua pia Kenyans, especially this generation of ours, we're living both in the future and in the past. We are that generation that's caught in between. Liberalism,
Generation gani?
conservatism.
Watu walianza kutumia simu
No,
hizi Nokia.
no, I
Watu wa
think
kuingia na Nokia na kutoka na internet.
Watu wa pager na
watu
cell
wa-
phone na
no, I think
That is
like I think sasa sisi, like the older millennials and then the Gen Xers, like we are caught up in this quagmire.
Yeah,
where
you're riding both sides.
where we're riding both sides. Where
always be caught in the
where like hata where as a chick you can even course correct your girlfriend like maze hivyo vile umevaa kuna vile uta represent
wazazi
family
wanakuja
yako
hapa, yeah,
yeah,
like,
I know.
and
And,
cover up.
and me, by the way, for me personally, especially like if my mother is home and you've dressed a certain way, you're not coming in, but that's inside my house. That's inside my house. Hawingi. And you know what I like about Kenyans is that people understand. Like mtu anajua.
Hata kwenda out kuna vile sasa unaambia mtu ama mtu mwenyewe anaweza kuambia unaambia vai nguo akwambia nguo inaonesha sana.
Yeah.
Unaambia no iko fiti you're like no,
Yeah.
like sometimes it's not even the fight is usually the other way around. It's not
Ama kuna vile umefika.
Yeah, dem anataka conservative unamwambia hii ndio inakaa poa, yeye anakuambia no. Like it's usually based on how we are, like it's usually a topsy-turvy thing. Hatukuangi sure, like not sure, like there's never
because you're assessing where you're going. Yeah, because you have to
There are
assess
times
where
we
you're
are
going, who's going to be
comfortable,
there.
the time
Yeah, ati kuna wazazi na nini.
Yeah.
Ama sometimes
But
it's-
can't Vegas is different. Let the girl go have a good time and don't shame her in public. story.
You go have a good time. Lakini
me I think
wachana na
jamaa alikuwa
photoshoots.
anatry kucall. Wajua vile Vegas simu huwa ina nini, battery huwa inaisha. For some reason Vegas huwa inanyonya battery
You would
sana.
know how new
Yeah.
like, what was it called?
Among other
Las
things.
Vegas service. What is it?
You know,
Yeah.
battery unyonywa power sana. Among other things.
Battery ya
account.
simu huwa inaisha haraka, sijui
Bank
kuna
account.
Only in
Sijui-
Vegas. That's the only place it happens.
yeah, sijui kwa nini when happen, but you're trying to reach someone, you know, yuko mteja the whole day. Okay, uko mteja, ngoja uone vile nda kurich.
And by the way,
Ni zile mashine za kasino unyonya network.
na kama ni hivyo kaa hivyo, but lakini wahenga walinena kilicho na mwanzo hakina budi kuwa na mwisho. Meli imetia nanga. We are about to wrap this puppy up. Mika,
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Tulikuwa break refu lakini, but we are back. We're back. Na tuko hapa mpaka Labor Day. I think so.
Say that loudly so another guy who sits around here knows.
Mimi niko na weekend moja nina miss though.
Oh yeah, the shut
Hakuna.
up.
Mimi naenda huko. Yeah.
Tent.
Yeah. So anyway, want to thank Emily for joining us today. Thank you very much. And again, karibu tena. That was a very good discussion, good show. We would like to
Very
continue
refreshing.
with it. Our fans, kama kawaida, thank you for joining us. Thank you for listening in. Your contribution also is highly appreciated. My co-hosts, thank you for showing up, all of you today.
I hear someone on time for the first time ever.
Mika.
Wow.
Mika. Kuna mzee alikama hapa 7:10.
Aya, time yangu ya kawaida hiyo hapo.
Haya, endelea maliza.
I think yeye ndiye alikuwa transportation director.
Itaimagine.
Boss, kuna vile kulienda.
All in all, just tell everybody, enjoy yourself. It's summertime and enjoy you outside. But remember, man, Uber ni cheap kushinda kila kitu ingine unaweza fanya ukidrink and drive. So, if you're drinking and you're driving, if you're drinking, don't drive. Use Uber. Kwaheri.
Yo. Asanteni. Thank you, Emily, our guest, for coming through. In fact, I didn't even know her name was Emily. Me, I just knew her name. She was
You know
called,
me as Happy. You guys used to just call me Happy.
Yeah, in fact, I thought she was called Colorado. How many years ago was that?
That was about 6 years ago.
Kenya Mauja. Oh, sorry.
No,
Yes.
it was 6 or more.
Maybe longer.
I think it was more.
2015, hapo hivyo.
Kaleka Group Ketu.
Almost. Actually, that's 8 years ago.
It's a long time ago.
Yeah, I know. Your group any just disappeared.
But Iko, you know, the group was
Still alive.
people didn't even leave the group. It's
Oh,
still
so
there.
it's
Just
still alive.
Somebody
comments
needs to
are
revive
just
it.
not made.
Somebody just needs to revive it.
Yeah, comments
okay.
are just not made anymore. But thank you. And you know, I was cracking up when you were talking about the journey that you've gone through, the 17 years with the company
The
that was
company,
eventually
yeah.
closed and sold, because we have mutual people who you worked with who are friends, who are also caught up in that quagmire.
Yeah.
Hey, lakini hawa watu waliwatenda madhambi. Yani you guys were done character development within 6.8 seconds. And wow. Does the company still exist? Or it was
No,
broken
it was
up?
bought. No, they sold it to another company, another bigger company now. So another
which
company.
absorbed it.
Yeah, we were given the option to stay and take a pay cut or whatever. I was like, no,
Yeah,
let
it
me
seems
just
like
go.
all of you just decided enough is enough.
17 years is a
Ultimately.
long time to work.
Yeah,
with
that's a
one
long
company.
time.
Yeah, 'cause
And
you are
it
not
felt
the
like a
only one,
death
yeah.
because like
Yeah.
if it's not gonna be the same people, the same.
I mean,
the
6 years
dynamics-
in my company and I feel like I've been there forever. 17 years is a long time.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, coming from when she started, yeah. And it was a small mom and pop shop where it was a family.
It was a family.
They were,
it was an-
well,
we were
tight
family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But after death, succession.
No,
That's
that-
another thing we need to talk
Yeah.
about.
Huyo mzee vile alinini like this.
He took care of his family. Yeah.
Things, those chaps are like, we are cashing out now. We don't want to wake up every day in the mornings doing nini. We are done.
Employees, nini,
Yeah.
nini, nini.
No, I know.
And
Dealing
by
with
the way, that
payroll.
was just one portion of a bigger portfolio. So that's the one I didn't want to manage.
And
Sasa
that's-
ilikuwa tu hiyo peke yake.
Yeah.
It was just one part of another, a bigger portion. and the kids didn't want to deal with that part. So they're like, sell this asset, we'll keep the other
And then
one.
that's why parents should not always assume that their kids
Correct.
are gonna succeed them in running their business.
And that's
Exactly.
where
Yeah.
a trust comes in, and
Exactly.
you work out the rules in the trust. Everybody knows, and who's inheriting, whether
Yep.
it's through marriage, it's
Yep.
irrevocable. What assets you can sell, you take all your
Yeah.
assets, you work out them in there, nini. And by the way, Kenya has that in the finance bill of 2021, where they allow you to do the trust. Because if you are transferring property from, let's say, if it's me who's transferring to you, even though we are family, if it's not in a trust, you have to pay.
I have to pay
you have to
taxes.
pay taxes.
Inheritance
Yeah.
tax.
Yes, but then now in a trust, you don't pay
You don't
that.
have to pay. Yeah.
Wow.
They're allowing you to do that in
To
Kenya.
inherit without
yes,
paying
Same
a
here.
tax.
yes,
Same
to
here.
so you took, so like, let's say if a house, let's say all of us here are siblings, and everybody has a house in their name, we can put every single asset
In the
into this
trust.
Estate
into
planning.
this trust. And
Asset protection.
our kids can eat off of this, and so on and so
Cash
forth.
flow.
And we can make it a stipulation: nobody can sell.
Yep.
So these assets are still gonna generate money, and as long as kuna mtu kwa familia hana uwezo, atakula kutoka
Atakula
hii.
kitu hapo.
Yes, and so nobody is selling. That thing of dividing
Wow.
and everybody is selling, and
Yeah.
then because once I sell the one that I have, then what?
Your asset protection, we need to
So,
have an episode for it.
Say less.
Yeah, I've gone on that one. Yeah, that's another topic. Have a good week. Enjoy the week. We were told, there's a men's conference that's going down with families, and they also have the embassy there. So if you think that you have your stuff together, come with all your documents. Make sure you've done the application online already. So all you're going to be coming to do is do probably fingerprints and biometrics. The embassy is going to be part of that. That's going to be in Borimore. What is it called? Gunpowder Park, yes, in Borimore.
Major River.
And there's 12 goats, a cow.
Is that the
dress
park where
appropriately.
That's the one you pay when you're going in.
that Adnan Syed, ile cereal? Is that where?
I don't think so. No, I don't think
No,
so.
it's not that. Okay, maybe it's a
you
different
you pay when you're going in. You know, like kind of like that one in Germantown.
Yes,
one,
yes.
Like Seneca.
You pay
when you
per car.
go. Yes.
Yes.
You
You
know,
pay
like
per
No,
car.
no,
Yeah.
no, per person.
Or any
it's
papaso.
like that
per
of
person.
Greater Seneca.
Yeah.
That kind of concept.
Okay.
Yes.
Hey,
Same thing.
because per car, in Borimore na Mbogia huko, hata watu 10 watatosha ndani ya gari moja.
Yeah, so it's very, very interesting,
Kabisa.
and it's a good thing that it's happening. It's actually being considered a 4th of July. So, we're still, running off a 4th of July for this weekend. With that said, enjoy. Have a good one. Be safe. Thank you, Emily. Good to see you in the studio, and don't be a stranger.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Asante Sana. Now, real quick, there was a comment that came on YouTube from Near Generational. She was saying, this is why Janet Jackson left her baby daddy. He knew what he was getting into. She's an entertainer, and in her job, she dresses provocative at times. Okay? Good point. And Asante Sana, Near Generational, for tuning in. Thank you so much, Wangare, or Emily. Let me call you with your
M.
with your M. With your white name. With your white work name.
M's.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming through. You brought in a lot of new, different perspectives that a lot of people maybe had not even thought about or even seen. So that's very good. And we, of course, just scratched the surface. There's so many other things that we still want to talk about. So hopefully we're going to schedule you to come back again. We need to talk real estate. We need to talk asset protection. We need to talk estate planning.
Yep.
We need to talk life insurance, because those are things that are sometimes people know they're important, but they're just overwhelming to understand.
information,
And
yeah.
the market is filled by people who are selling products. Those people don't serve the market right. I understand, like everyone has a hustle, but I think, and I think that's part of the reason why some people have not taken action, because they see all these people talking about this. They see them as product pushers and snake oil salespeople. Yeah, and that makes people, get to a point where even for the good people who are fiduciaries who are looking at your interest, you're still looking at them with skepticism. So I think we need to try to find a solution to win people's trust, so that people take action on this. Want to thank all the listeners who are tuned in. We are back again next week. We'll let you know who's going to be coming in next week. Asanteni sana for being with us. Na kwa hayo machache, yeyote ambaye anataka kunipigia simu, nambari yangu bado ni ile ile 1-800 mteule. Operator akishika simu, mwambie unataka kusema na mjukuu, na akikuuliza ni mjukuu yupi, mkumbushe ni mjukuu yule yule wa Masai, because I'm Kenyan by blood, American by design, Masai by choice. Sichagui, sikagui na sibagui. Kwaherini.
Parting shot. Final word.
Me.
Yes.
Hey.
Well. My niece
Hmm?
is 3 years old, and she comes in the room and she goes, well. It's been a pleasure. Thank you all for having me here. It's been a long time coming, actually. But I'm glad we were able to
But the-
make
The
it
timing,
happen.
Donna, as my mom says, if it's meant, when it happens, it was
it's
meant to
meant-
happen at that
exactly,
time. So
exactly.
It's all good.
Exactly. So thank you for having me. I would absolutely love to come back. I love the conversations. It's always good to have different choices and learn. Even today, I learned from you guys as well too. So it's always good to have that. So thank you for having me. It's good to hang out with you guys again after a long time. So it's good to see you all.
Let's not wait too long, Ali. To
Well,
do
I'm going to
yeah.
254, so you'll have to catch me next after I
year.
return back.
Or
After I
she's,
return
well,
back.
how long are you gonna be
she's
in
going to
254?
invest into
I'm going to go look into properties in Kenya.
Kafuroti.
Yes.
Kaploti moja ubidi hapo nianze
Yeah.
mambo ya
Burati
Kenya.
makuta.
Yes.
Yes.
Afinje by finge.
When are you coming back?
I'll be back August 15th.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just for you. Just wait there for a few days.
just summer to, just
Aina ngoli.
Afadhali hata ungebaki tu.
Aina ngoli.
tell that to my children who have
No,
already packed.
they've already, those
Oh, the
toys,
kids are ready
they
to
have
go.
planned.
They
You
are
know
ready
them, they
to
know
go.
summertime what the program is. You
They
don't
know.
have to tell them.
Oh,
You gotta
that's
tell
nice.
them
Ah,
twice.
washapanga.
They're like, let's go.
Washapanga.
Masai
That's
Mara
nice.
when, Mombasa when.
Okay.
So after August.
Okay, sawa. Tutapanga hiyo hapo.
Yes.
So this is the point where we go, we tayarisha our suitcase, we give her, or
Hey.
Then she
See,
brings
you-
it back
you-
with sausages.
yes. It's she can take ile ya kwenda alafu ile ya kurudi.
Na ya kurudi.
Yes,
Yeah.
waga sausages.
Unampatia tu one full suitcase.
Yes, no. Hakuna
Don't
story
you
ya
customs?
just give me. No. We're giving you a full suitcase.
Empty
Tushapima.
to come back full.
No, it's not
No,
empty.
it's not empty. It's going with
It's
stuff.
going to go with stuff.
And then it
Yeah.
comes back.
It's,
Then
yes,
it's coming
come
back with
stuff.
It's come back with sausages.
Get somebody else
It's
to
gonna
do it.
come back with peanuts. It's
Oh,
going to
by
come
the
back
way, Peptang tomato sauce. Oh,
Yes.
amazing, man. Niko nazo home. Oh my
with,
goodness.
you realize what they've been cheating us. Eh?
Yeah,
Well,
so again,
alright.
these conversations, this is how you
Can
guys
you
are.
finish
Heinz ketchup. Heinz ketchup. What
Are
is
you-
Heinz
are you
ketchup?
done?
That's
I
fine.
don't know.
That's it?
I don't know.
I have nothing else to say other
thank
than
you.
I'll be back.
Okay, good. These jangilis over here.
Uno. You don't see how that
Aiden.
wewe kwani utaki suitcase iende na hata Aiden mwenyewe is going to be a beneficiary.
And he'll be the first one to
yes,
bring his stuff.
endelea
akisikia
tu
kuna
and
suitcase.
God is seeing you. Oh, sorry. Ulikuwa unasema?
Aiden, Daddy loves you. Jerry, Daddy loves you. Nibo, Daddy loves you. Until next week, be blessed.
Peace.
Oh, pombe sigara naweza wacha bila kung'ang'ana, lakini hawa wasichana vile nawapenda